Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Sir, can you please
Good
help
afternoon.
me with something? I have a doubt.
Yes, please.
Sir, is there two classes going on simultaneously, service marketing and this business communication?
See, for semester one students, there is just one class going on, that is business communication, as far as I know. There must not be two classes overlapping each other at this point of time.
Yeah, service management for semester three.
Yeah,
Okay, because as soon as I'm clicking over the link, I'm
you
being
must have received a
redirected to.
notification. Yeah,
Yeah, I received the notification as soon as I clicking on that link, it is redirecting me to that another class of service marketing.
Yeah,
but
that is
I,
not for us.
but you are fortunate, and I am privileged that now you are here.
Okay, thank you so
Okay.
much, sir.
So, stay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Okay, just hold on. I'm just trying to admit the ones who are trying to join. Anandji, can you help me join, allowing everybody to join, because बार-बार मुझे join करना पड़ रहा है, join करवाना पड़ रहा है.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. So, welcome everybody. I hope you all are doing well. And we we had one online class earlier. Now, this particular class is supposed to be a revision class, a long session of 4 hours, 5 hours. It is scheduled for 5 hours, including 1 hour break. So we'll see. However, wherever we feel like taking a break, we'll do it accordingly. And so what I am planning to do is that I am planning to cover as much as I can in this revision class, it being obviously a revision class. And so in the last online class that we had, I started with the first unit, that is the
Yes,
basics
sir.
of communication, right? Now the thing is, uh, just give me give me your say about how many of you have attended my offline classes. Just write offline in the chat box, because this will help me to understand what all has been covered with most of the people. Accordingly, I'll pick the topics. If you have attended my offline classes, just write offline. If you have attended my previous online classes, just write online in the chat box. That will help me to understand what all you have studied. So accordingly, we'll proceed. I'm waiting for your response. So as soon as you respond, we will continue. Offline one class only, first class hybrid. Online. Okay. So most of you have attended my online classes, offline a few. Okay. Now, those who have attended my online class, did I finish the first unit completely or were some topics left? I guess there were last few topics which were left.
Let, sir. Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here is that we'll quickly start with the very beginning from unit 1. I'll take up those topics which I discussed in the online class very quickly, and then we'll keep on proceeding. I hope this is fine with everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes.
What about others?
Yeah,
If it
that's
is
all right.
okay with everybody, give me a thumbs up in the chat box. That would also help me to know that all of you are active. We are a population of what, around 90 some students. So give me a thumbs up in the chat box so that we can start with unit 1 itself, if you all agree. Okay, all right. So allow me to present my screen so that I can. And anytime you feel like complete yourself. Anytime you feel like taking a screenshot of anything that is there on my screen, please feel free to do it. I'll share the study notes, but I will not be able to share the PPT. So feel free to take a screenshot. I hope my screen is visible to everybody.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You are not going to share this PPT, is it?
Yeah, I won't be sharing this PPT. Feel free to take screenshots, but I'll definitely share some study notes and previous year papers in the Microsoft portal as well, and those who are there in the in some groups that have been unofficially made by few students. So I'll share there as well. I have shared it previously. So I'll quickly take you through the units that are there. So we have unit 1, communication in organizations. We have written communication, second unit, third unit, interpersonal communication, fourth unit, cross-cultural
Don't
communication, and fifth unit, career management and communication. Also, feel free to speak anytime you feel like asking anything. Okay,
yes.
there is no such thing that you cannot speak in my class unless you have something substantial to speak and something to ask. Okay, so we talk about environment now. It is winters. We all must be sitting at the comfort of our homes, and we are using technology to communicate here. We are doing an online class. No, all this is what? All this is somehow directly, indirectly affecting, this particular communication that we are doing. Yeah. Yes or no? So the
Yes.
communication that happens, it is guided by the environment around it, the factors that make something feasible, make something not working. So all these constitute something's environment, right? Now, in the similar manner, when we talk about businesses, there are, okay, I think my screen has just vanished.
Yes, sir.
So in between so my laptop is having some problems. So in between, what might happen that my screen might just go away. So just keep reminding me if it happens.
Yes. Okay, sir.
I
Okay.
I hope I am still sharing my screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So there are these internal and external
सर
factors that, yes,
सर हमारे पास नहीं आ रही है आपकी चीज़।
स्क्रीन नहीं आ रही, अभी आ रही है?
अब आ रही है सर, अब आ रही है।
ठीक है,
ठीक है।
okay. So there are
अब आ
certain
रही है सर।
internal, okay, there are certain internal and external factors which play a role in constituting the environment of a business that run any organization. So when we talk about internal factors, it may be about the things that are directly related and connected with the business, with the organization. So internal factors may be employees, customers need, demand. External factors may be, let's say the government changes some legal policies related to the type of product that you are making, may be related to the GST bill, something like that. So those are external factors. You don't have control over it as part of the
ठीक।
organization. So those are external factors.
अच्छा।
All these internal and external factors constitute to form business environment. Okay. Now moving ahead, here are a few definitions on your screen of you know business environment. So I'll just read one of it and we'll explain it to you. The total of all things external to firms and industries that affect the function of the organization. So any organization can be affected, supported, and the functioning may also impede. So these are different factors which affect the functioning of that organization. Hence, these are known as business environment. Now, moving ahead, the other term that is there, which is communication. So, communication, the very word is derived from the Latin word communicare, which means to make common, to share, or to part away. Now, right now, I'm parting away with the knowledge that I have. And what am I doing then? I am communicating with you. So, all in all, we can say that communication is is a process of sharing your thoughts, ideas, emotions, and feelings, right? Now, when we talk about communication, there are two parties, right? There is a sender, there is a receiver. Now, when we talk about communication, we need to understand that there is a flow of message. Now, the flow of message can be from sender to receiver, receiver to sender. Now, if it is just from sender to receiver, then it is called one-way communication, but only when there is no response expected from the receiver. So, for example, let's say government issues a notice to all the organizations about certain change in work policies that all organizations need to follow. Now, there the
हम्म।
government is not seeking your suggestion, they are not seeking your opinion, they are not seeking your response to it. So that's a one-way communication.
वन
But
वे
let's
कम।
yeah, one-way communication. And let's say when your boss you know sends you a notice wherein the agendas for the meeting for a coming up meeting has been shared and have been shared, and they he or she has also sought some of the agendas from you. Now you are expected to respond. Now that is a two-way
टू
communication,
वे
if you
कम।
will.
ये सर।
uh, you can mute yourself in case you are just taking notes. या अगर कुछ पूछना होगा तो आप अनम्यूट कर लीजिएगा. अश्मित, I guess. Yeah, नहीं,
Okay.
अश्मित नहीं. Yeah, Ashmit. Now, here are certain other definitions of business communication. We'll just look at one. You can read the others. So, business communication as a system that affects change throughout the whole organization. So, what happens is that communication is very fundamental to the functioning of any organization. Hence, one cannot evade it. Now, when we talk about communication, it is also important to understand communication cycle. Here are different elements of communication cycle. And why do we call it a cycle? Because it's a cyclic process. We start from the sender. If you can see my cursor here, we start from the sender. The message is formed. It is sent to the receiver. Somebody is okay. It passes on to the receiver. The receiver sends a feedback. Now we'll understand each and every element one by one. Okay. Now there is always a context. The function, if we talk about the features of communication, so communication always has a context. It is always it is always goal oriented. So every communication has a context. So right now, if we are communicating, my goal is to teach you as much as I can of this paper, business communication, and the context is MBA class first semester and business communication paper and these revision classes. So this communication that we are having has a context. It is goal oriented, and that helps me as a sender to formulate the things in my mind what I want to convey to you. So I must be having some raw thoughts, ideas in my mind, which I am going to encode in the form of, let's say, through this presentation, through my facial expressions, through my voice, and all these things are adding on to help me encode the raw thoughts in my head. So what is encoding? Encoding is the process of converting the raw thoughts that are there in your head in a form that is message which is comprehensible to the receivers, which is comprehensible to the receiver, right? So sender is a person who sends the information. I am here a sender. यार मेरी screen बार बार जा रही है. Just give me a minute. Okay, then I told you about encoding. Now, after a due encoding, what is formed? Message is formed. Then message is sent to the receiver, right? Receiver receives it, and the receiver decodes the information that is being sent in the form of message. Then the receiver sends a feedback to the sender. Now, feedback is what? Feedback is the response from the receiver to the sender. It is also a message, but it is in the form of response that has to be based on the message or should follow the context of this communication. Otherwise, that feedback will be totally useless. So try not doing it. So every communication is a two-way process. So it's a two-way process, right? Sender sends an information to the receiver, receiver sends a feedback. So it's a two-way process. The flow of information is from the sender sent to the receiver, and the receiver ends to the sender. So here are these different I would say elements. Now, when we talk about communication and how we do encoding, so there are two things which you need to understand, that there is a verbal way and there is a non-verbal way. When we talk about this word verbal, verbal means uses of words, right? Now,
Well,
when we speak, of course we use words. When we write, of course we use words. Now, this type of communication is called verbal communication, everyone. The another type of communication is non-verbal communication, and it may happen through different ways, wherein we don't use words. I hope all of you are taking down notes as well. So please sit with a notebook and a pen. Wherever you feel like noting down anything, please note as well. So, talking about non-verbal communication, of course, we don't use words, right? Now, when we don't use words, how do we communicate? So, maybe, through gestures, you know, we make facial expressions, our physical appearance, how do we dress up? Do we dress up as per the occasion? If it is a formal setup, if it is an interview, if it is an informal gathering, are we dressing up as per the occasion? That is important,
sir,
right?
sir,
Yes, yes.
sir,
Us.
what is the meaning of informal gathering?
Informal gathering is when at times what happens in organizations. Let's say the organization gives a Diwali party. That's an informal
O-
gathering. It happens in the organization, but it's an informal gathering. Let's say the organization achieves a really big target. Now they want to celebrate it. So that's an informal
Okay,
gathering within the organization. Okay.
okay,
So
okay.
facial expressions, I told you, gestures, I told you, posture, the way you sit, the way you stand, the way you shake hands, the way you use your body language. Now, talking about body language, how your body also speaks. Right now when we are sitting in the online mode, it is very difficult because sort of our bust, I mean, it's up to the chest area that it is visible. So there might not be uses of much of body language, but then definitely when we meet somebody face to face, or when the whole of the body is visible, body language is equally important. Now, there is a word called kinesics. Kinesics. Seventh, eighth class में all of you must have studied this word kinetic energy, and the energy associated with the movement of something, right? Kinetic energy की definition होती है. The very word kinetics जो वहाँ पे आपने साइंस में पढ़ा है is also derived from the word kinesics, because kinesics is also the study of movement, right? So body movement की study भी important है, because we need to also follow right body language. Then we have a word called paralanguage as a part of non-verbal communication. Now, what is paralanguage? Paralanguage is basically about how you speak something. Now, we've been talking about communication for the last 15-20 minutes. So there is a way of communicating things. You want to call somebody, hey, can you come here? You can say like that. If you are if you have been saying the same to that person for a long time and you are a bit agitated, hey, can you come here now? Now you are putting a stress. There is a change in the pitch, right? The volume might be raised. So volume, change in the pitch, word stress, all of these things constitute paralanguage. It is about how you speak something, right, rather than what you speak. Okay, the tone of how you speak. So apart from this, we have oculics. Oculics is basically how you use your eyes to speak. So, eyes also speak a lot, whether or not when you are in a meeting, you are meeting the eye of the person. So if you are sitting in an interview as an interviewee, and if you are keeping your head down, eyes lowered, that would tell the interviewer that you might not be serious, you might not have enough knowledge, you might not be confident, and you might lose the opportunity of grabbing that job. So when you speak with somebody, try looking into the eye of the person and then communicating with the eye as well. That should supplement the things that you speak. Right now, if I'm speaking with you, I'm trying to keep my eyes in the camera so that when you look at me, when you see me speaking, you feel that I'm directly speaking to you. And I hope that I'm doing it very successfully. I hope that you are not feeling in a way that I am looking here and there, I'm looking too much into the PPT, or maybe, bit distracted or looking down, right? I hope you can feel that. Yes, Laiba, do you have a
Sir,
question?
sir,
Yes.
is there any chance your screen is freezed or you are not
No, my screen
showing
is
that
not
slides?
freezed. My screen is not freezed. There are no slides for this, so don't worry. I'm taking care of that. Thank you
Yes,
so
sir.
much
I
for
thought
being
your
concerned.
screen
It
your
is totally
screen
fine.
freeze. I thought
Thank you
that as
for
well.
that. Shows that you are attentive. Thank you so much for pointing out, but it is not freezed. Be assured. It's good that you are vigilant. Okay. So that was about oculics. Oculics also, when we talk about eye contact, there is a 3:8 formula. So when you speak with somebody face to face, should you should make the eye contact more than 3 seconds and less than 8 seconds, right? So try following this formula. Then we have something called chronomics, how you use time. So if, let's say, I just have 2 hours and you know, I have to discuss with you a lot of topics. So I am going to squeeze my content that I'm going to deliver to you. And I'm going to squeeze that. Why? Because I know that I have limited time. So I will try to mostly point out on significant things that are important, and I'll try to avoid the things that are extraneous or maybe not very important, right? So these are a few things in nonverbal communication that you need to keep in mind. There are others as well, like inflection. So for example, when somebody, so we'll try to understand it in cultural communication. So, if you have somebody coming from a different cultural background, speaking a different language, so there are chances that, you know, that person may just have a different tone. So for example, Arnav, if somebody is from Bengal, it is usually that, Arnav becomes Ornav. So there is this inflection, extra sound that is added in the pronunciation. So similarly, there are other non-verbal ways of communication as well. So this was about communication cycle, verbal, non-verbal ways of communication, and I hope till now everything is clear. So I'll take 2 minutes out for you people. If you have any doubts, please let me know. Otherwise, from here we'll move forward. Yes, I am open for your doubts. in case there is anything that you would like to ask. Please feel free. Yes. Is there any question?
सर
Let me
आप
know.
जैसे टीचर्स हमें ग्रेजुएशन में क्यों नहीं मिले?
What should I
Um,
answer about this? But
I
thank you so
I
much.
have a question.
Yes, please go ahead.
What is noise that is written in the presentation? What does that mean?
I am coming to that just after this.
Okay, okay, thanks.
Don't worry. Yes, any question from whatever I have discussed till
So
now?
you told
Anything that
two.
you would like to ask?
So you told two methods of non-verbal communication. One was kinesis and one was oculus. Was there anything else about it?
There are things like chronemics, oculesics, kinesics. Kinesics is about body language. Chronemics is about uses of time. Oculesics about how you speak with the eyes. We have proxemics. In proxemics, the theory was given by Edward T. Hall, and he talked about how there is this concept of space. So, for example, I'll say so for example, with a friend of yours who's not very close, you might not use hug as I would say, as a way of communication, but with a close friend you might just hug that person. So that's the uses of space, right? There is something called personal space that we oftenly say, but what exactly is this personal space in terms of communication, right? So when we talk about Edward T. Hall's idea of space, he says that there are four types in which space is divided. The first one is private space, which we share with our partners or parents, siblings. Then there is something called personal space, which we share with our close friends. There is something called social space, which we share with the acquaintances, some other people who we are not very close
community
with. Sorry?
community के साथ social
That is public space, जिनका
public
आपसे कोई ऐसा association as such नहीं है. You just meet them randomly, so most of you don't know each other, so you are in a public space. But eventually when you people, let's say, start meeting each other, start acknowledging each other's presence, so then you may form a social space. When you people make friends, close friends amongst yourself, let's say जिनेश और अश्मित अच्छे दोस्त बन गए. अब जब ये दोनों अच्छे दोस्त बन गए तो ये हो सकता है सोशल स्पेस से पर्सनल स्पेस में आ जाए. ठीक है. So it is like that. So there is this proxemics as well. So I am not sure who was asking this, who asked this question about the
I
types.
asked this thing, sir.
Please say your name. Laiba. Laiba, I hope
Live.
I could add on to some I could add on something to your query.
Yeah. I got it. So these ones will be well versed in the books already, right? So we
Come
can
again.
get more
Sorry,
into
sorry.
detail with it, right?
I
I
did
think
not.
that these will be already well versed in the book, right? So we can get it so that
Hmm.
and
समुंदर पड़ा है.
okay.
इंटरनेट इज देयर. अभी जो पढ़ा रहा हूँ उसको आराम से सुनो. You have a lot of information there on the internet. Books are
Okay.
there. I'll send you some study
Okay.
notes.
Okay.
So relax.
Okay.
Now
Thank
we
you.
talked, I'll quickly take you through these slides. We talked about communication process, how communication is a process. It leads to sharing of thoughts, ideas, emotions, feelings. Then communication process makes us understand things, people interpret things and decode things. There is a sharing that happens. People make meaning out of things that are conveyed to them. Then we have source or sender. Here it is me. Message, the encoded thought or idea. Channel, the medium through which something is communicated. Receiver, a person who receives the information. Feedback, response from the receiver to the sender. Environment, we discussed all the factors that tend to affect the communication. Moving forward, we have context. We discussed it. It talks about the setting, situation, culture, timing, relationship between parties, all of these things. We all have a relationship of teacher and students. The setting is this online class. Situation is that we have to study business communication. This is all setting up the context of it. Now coming to what one of our friends asked me about noise. Now, when we go to sign, I mean, the first time that you must have heard this word noise must have been, in your, uh, s- school days, when teachers would have said to you, "Don't make noise," and then you understood the meaning of noise in your science classes, wherein you must have studied any unpleasant sound is called noise. Now, when we talk about communication, the meaning extends to more of the things. Like what? So, when we talk about the word noise in terms of communication, we can say anything and everything that disrupts the process of communication, that tends to affect the communication process, or impedes the process of communication. Now there are different types. So another word for noise in terms of communication is barriers to communication, right? Now when we talk about barriers to communication, we have physical barriers, like let's say people start shouting, uh, here where I'm sitting, or I somebody rings the bell, I keep on getting calls, and it rings, so it will disrupt the process of communication. This is a physical thing. So it's a physical barrier. Distance is
Email.
also distance is also a physical barrier. When you sit very far away from somebody, so your voice might not reach to that person, that again is a physical barrier. Second, we have something called semantic barrier. Semantic barrier is related to the meaning of a noise, phrase, or sentence. Semantic, the very word is related to the very word means the meaning of word, phrase, or sentence. So
Later.
it may happen because of faulty translation. So if I translate A into B, but if I translate it wrongly, so it will confuse the other person, right? If I use a lot of unnecessary jargon, that again can cause trouble to the people, right? So these are few things that may affect. So I'll give you an example from yesterday. Of course it is not related to business communication. So there is one student in my class, in my undergraduation class. She is from Kashmir. So there was a sheet of paper which I asked her to click and send it in the group of the class. So she said, sir, मैंने उठा लिया पहले ही. I was like, क्या उठा लिया है? Then she said, sir, फोटो उठा लिया है. So the point is, their फोटो खींचने को फोटो उठा लेना बोल देते हैं. So मेरे साथ उसकी क्या प्रॉब्लम है, वो नहीं जानती थी कि मैं ये नहीं समझता हूँ उठा लेने का मतलब. एंड and that created a confusion. So something like this also creates a confusion. So semantic barrier over here. Why? Because of the cultural difference, language, language difference. We have something called a psychological barrier as well. How your mental state also affects the communication. So if you are really sad, so you might just not feel like speaking with people, or you might miss out on something. So if I am, let's say, sad today, if something wrong must have happened with me, I'm not really feeling good, so the way in which I would communicate with you, that might be affected. So the whole of the goal of this class might be also affected. So
But
just the way I try to avoid psychological barrier and try to adhere to the goal of this class, in the similar manner, any communication that you do in any organization, you must keep in mind that the communication must be aligned with the goal of the organization, or there is a term called organizational goal. Then there can be premature evaluation. So if you judge a person beforehand, you evaluate that person's personality, and then you communicate with that person accordingly. So what have you done? You have created a filter, and you communicate with that person through that filter. So that affects the things that you communicate, the things that you communicate to that person. And when that person communicates something to you, so you might not take it very seriously. So the whole goal of the communication might also be affected. There can be prejudice. If you don't like your boss, so you might not feel like listening to that person. But and in that case, if he or she has something really important to say, you might not be able to understand it well. So that again is a psychological barrier. We have something called mechanical barrier. Mechanical barrier is related to machines. So for example, you must be using your devices, mobile phones or लैपटॉप जिससे आप पढ़ रहे हैं, एंड लेट्स से इंटरनेट चला गया, इस डिवाइस में कोई प्रॉब्लम आ गई. सो क्या हो रहा है, जो आप मशीन्स यूज कर रहे हैं उससे रिलेटेड प्रॉब्लम है. सो दिस इज व्हाट मैकेनिकल बैरियर, राइट? So these are not all, but few barriers, few things which comprise as the noise, something that may affect the process of communication negatively. So this was all about barriers. Now these barriers, in a comprised manner, you know, cause trouble and may lead to miscommunication. Now, what is this word miscommunication? So the word miscommunication means that when the intended idea is not communicated well to the receiver, one, two, or the intention with which the message was conveyed is not decoded in the same manner and is comprehended by the receiver. So that causes a problem in communication, that makes that communication a miscommunication. So this was about miscommunication and barriers to communication, or we can say noise. If this much is clear to all of you, can I get a yes in the chat box? And if you have a query, feel free to ask me so that we can proceed ahead.
So one question that you mentioned about a barrier in which like difference in the
Sorry?
hierarchy of individuals communicating, and then they apply a filter before, like in their communication.
Liba, slowly. Tell me again.
Yeah, I'm saying that you mentioned about a point where there's people like when the people from different hierarchies are talking, and then they apply a filter in their communication,
It is,
and
it
that
is,
cause
it is. You want me to give an example?
no. I'm talking that under which head it's actually specified. Like you talked about multiple categories of I don't noises. So one was semantic, one was psychological, and then which one under this goes?
When it is a problem related to hierarchy, so there is another barrier which is called organizational barrier. I'll give you an example. So see, every organization has a hierarchy. When we talk about hierarchy of any organization, there are three categories of people. One is called superior, the other is called subordinate, the third category is of peers. So somebody under who other people work, that person is called a superior to the other people. Somebody who works under the other people, follows the instruction of the other people,
Subordinate.
submits the report, is called subordinate. Then peers are the people who work on the same level. Now at times what happens, see, in organizations things have to follow a protocol. Now if there is a hierarchy of 7 people, the person on the lowermost level, if that person has to communicate something to, let's say to the topmost person, now that information will have to pass through each level and then would reach the first person, the topmost person. Now that may take a lot of time. Now if that's particular communication which this lower level employee is trying to communicate to the topmost employee, so that the whole of the message would get delayed. Now this may again be considered as a barrier, called as organizational barrier. Okay, so related to hierarchy, there is this organizational barrier.
सर
Okay.
Hmm.
सर एक बार मिड कम्युनिकेशन का मीनिंग बता दीजिए मिड कम्युनिकेशन
भाई, the word miss is a prefix that is attached to communication. आप किसी भी इंग्लिश में शब्द के पहले प्रीफिक्स जब लगाते हैं मिस, दैट shows the contrary of it, right? The other negative side of it. In the similar manner, when the things that you want to convey as a sender to the receiver in a particular manner with a particular intention, if the receiver does not understand it in the similar wavelength, or the whole idea is not communicated to that person, then that causes miscommunication.
ओके सर ओके थैंक यू
Okay, Ganeev has written, would it be possible for you to discuss the case study question with us, Marga? I will definitely share it. I am going to discuss the question paper as well. Don't worry. I'll do that. Any other question, or shall we move ahead?
Sir,
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, Muskan.
So, suppose like I'm scared to speak in front of everyone. So this is
Hmm.
also kind of miscommunication, or we can call it as a barrier, you know?
It,
Like
it,
I
Polo,
like
polo.
I can't ask my question to you, and I just keep it to myself, and due to which the concept is not clear and the doubt is to myself. So this could be considered as like some like barrier, personal or physical barrier.
See, ultimately, if this is a communication that is happening wherein I am teaching you something, you are studying from me, and related to this particular class that I am doing with you, if you have a question and if you are not giving me the feedback rightly, सो वो जो फीडबैक वाला एस्पेक्ट था कम्युनिकेशन साइकिल में, वो कहीं ना कहीं अफेक्टेड होगा. सो डेफिनेटली कम्युनिकेशन का जो गोल है वो अचीव नहीं हो पा रहा है सक्सेसफुली. सो कम्युनिकेशन एक मिसकम्युनिकेशन बन सकता है, पर्टिकुलरली फॉर यू, right? Because you are apprehensive about sharing the queries that you have in your mind, and because वो queries आप नहीं share करोगे, so आगे जाके उससे related if we are going to discuss something, then you might not understand those things as well. So overall जो मेरे communication का goal है आप लोगों के साथ next 4 hours में, वो कहीं ना कहीं आपके लिए particularly affect होगा, hence few things might be miscommunicated to you. And I mean, it's not always the sender who is responsible. It may be the receiver as well for miscommunication.
Okay.
Okay, I guess with this we can move forward. So we just talked about barriers to communication. Now we'll be talking about this effective communication. Now, when we talk about effective communication, the whole idea of effective communication is totally opposite to miscommunication. When the intention with which the sender sends a message to the receiver, that intention corresponds with the goal and fulfills the whole idea, whole fulfills the goal of the communication, then that is called an effective communication. So how does effective communication happen? So there is this idea of 7 C's of communication, which we must follow so as to make our communication effective. Now it starts with completeness. Then we have conciseness, correctness, concreteness, clarity, coherence, and courtesy. We'll try to understand each of these one by one. So it is said that we need to have completeness in whatever we convey to the other person, be it verbally or non-verbally. Now, what makes our communication complete? Now, if रुक जाओ यार, मेरा screen बार बार जा रहा है. Just give me a sec. I hope it is visible right now.
Yes.
Okay. So, what makes our communication complete? So, it is said that, when you are able to furnish the details of 5 W's and 1 H in your communication, then it does not leave any doubt in the mind of the other person. So, what are those 5 W's? Who, what,
Who,
when,
what,
where, why, and
where,
how. 1 H, how.
how.
So, what happens that it helps in persuading the audience, it helps in a quick decision making, it leaves no question in the mind of the receiver. So if you have to come up with an advertisement of a digital marketing person, and you have to put that advertisement up in a newspaper, so you need to furnish all the details. who who is publishing that information, what is it about, when is the interview, or when is the deadline of the application to be sent to the company, where has it to be sent, where is the company, why is this advertisement being published in the newspaper, and how, what is the whole process of application and selection. If you are providing all these details, then obviously there would be no doubt in the minds of the receiver, and it would be a successful and effective communication. After completeness, let's just talk about the next one, that is conciseness. Conciseness is about brevity, keeping everything brief, using minimum words, and you know communicating the maximum of the things. So try not to use wordy expressions. बहुत ज़्यादा words आपके content में नहीं होना चाहिए. If you can communicate something with limited number of words, that shows that there is conciseness in your communication. Do not compromise with relevant information. So while I tell you that you need to use all the details in your communication to make it complete, you should also keep in mind that while you do that, you don't provide unnecessary information that make the whole of the message very bulky. So try to limit your words. So for example, let's read this example here. We hereby wish to let you know that our company is pleased with the confidence you have reposed in us. We can also mean the same by saying we appreciate your confidence. So by using limited number of words, we mean the same. So it is better to write in this manner and not using a wordy expression. After conciseness, we have correctness. Now, if you just look at this little image that we have here, one is let's eat grandma, other is let's eat comma grandma. Now, in the first one, what is happening? You are eating the whole of grandma. And in the second one, you are asking grandma to eat with you. So punctuation save lives. In the similar manner, you need to use, just like we must use punctuation rightly, a very small comma rightly so as to communicate well. In the similar manner, even if we are communicating something in the oral form or written form, what we need to do is that we need to provide things grammatically correct, figuratively correct, and factually correct. It should be free from errors so that nobody points out on you. So if you are presenting, let's say, about your product to potential clients or investors, and if you're giving wrong details, I am sure many of you must have watched this Shark Tank. How many of you have watched Shark Tank? Have you ever watched Shark Tank?
Sir,
ठीक है, many of you must have
Yes,
watched
sir.
Shark Tank. So एक दो ऐसे shows आए ना जिसमें what happens that these people show the people who present their product or services, they give wrong details, wrong financials, and then people like Ashneer, what do? They find the fault, and एक कह सकते हैं पब्लिकली शेमफुल जैसा एनवायरनमेंट बन
Relation.
जाता है जो कि अच्छा नहीं रहता उनकी रेपुटेशन के लिए, राइट? सो इन द सिमिलर मैनर, इफ यू यूज रॉन्ग डिटेल्स, right, if you communicate things wrongly, then it may affect the reputation of your company, your product, or you. So be like, make sure that you don't use wrong details, and try avoiding the use of substandard words like ain't. I mean, it's not a formal word. You should use isn't, aren't, can't, hardly is no word, brung is no right form of verb, brought is right, irregardless is nothing, you should use regardless. So keep these things in mind. Talking about the next one, try not being vague in whatever you speak, try being concrete, try, you know try telling things in a very particular manner. Don't beat around the bush. So for example, student GMAT scores are higher. Now this is pretty delineating. I mean, it may just confuse the other person, so it's better to tell things in a very concrete manner and specify things. So for example, in 1999 the GMAT scores averaged 600. By 1997 they had risen to 610. Another way of bringing concreteness in whatever you write or speak is by using more of active verbs than passive verbs. Sorry, more of telling things in active voice and less of passive voice, right? So for example, better convey by saying, let's say, a dean decided than a decision has been made by, because this is not only using a lot of words but may also confuse the other person. Okay, and yeah, that's about concreteness, everyone. Moving ahead, we have clarity. So in the very beginning, I told you that the sender has abstract thoughts in his or her head, raw thoughts, raw ideas. Now what happens? The sender has a clarity of thought and has a clarity of expression. So what are the things that what are the things that a sender has to convey? So the sender decides on it. Sender plans it well. Only when the sender plans it well that the sender is able to. Am I audible? I can't see you
Your screen
people.
is not visible, sir.
My screen is not visible and I'm not able to see the. Yeah, just hold on.
Uh,
There is a
will we be
problem with
getting
my laptop.
recordings of this or the slides itself?
The recording is being done by SOL, so I think it will be uploaded here only in your chat box, maybe. I mean, not chat box, the portal that is there on Microsoft. And PPT, as I said, I won't be sharing, but then definitely I'll share the study notes. Feel free to take screenshots anytime you feel like doing it. Okay.
Okay, so you'll share study notes. Okay.
So clarity
Okay,
is
thank
about
you.
clarity of thought. So for example, if I have to teach, if I got this notice from SOL that I have to take a revision class of all of you for 4 hours, so I must have planned things in my head, right? So what are topics I need to discuss? How will I be discussing all these things? So that is clarity of thought and clarity of expression, right? Next is coherence. Now whatever you speak or whatever you write must be coherent. Coherent to what? Coherent to the context. So if I am, let's say, cracking a joke in between my class, or if I am telling an incident, let's say a few minutes back I told an incident about yesterday in my class when I had this conversation with this Kashmiri student of mine. Now I didn't tell it out of blue. I told it because that is relevant to what I'm teaching you. That example is somehow making you analogically understand, you know, things in a better manner. So, point is, whatever you communicate should align with the organizational goal, should align with the context and the goal of the communication, right? And the similar is there, and similarly, it is there in writing. Whatever you write must align with the context of the topic, right? You should not have a lot of issues in a single mail, let's say. you know for one subject, I mean, for a particular thing that you are trying to convey, there should be one subject and your content must align with that subject. Do not include a lot of things, because that one will be too bulky, so will avoid conciseness. Two, it will not seem coherent to the person who reads your mail. So stick to your topic. Use right connecting words and phrases to connect sentences and paragraphs. जहां पे बट यूज करना चाहिए वहां पे बट ही यूज करो, जहां पे एंड यूज करना चाहिए वहां पे एंड करो, जहां पे और यूज करना चाहिए और करो, वरना गड़बड़ हो जाएगी. Right? A very minor difference, I mean, a very minor wrong uses of and or wrongly, so it may again cause trouble and may just miscommunicate a lot of things. So try being coherent. Last but not the least is courtesy. So whoever you speak with, whoever you write to, whoever you communicate, you must be polite, you must be respectful, you must be empathetic, you must be enthusiastic, right? Try not being offensive. Try not, even if you are angry, even if you have to complain, or you're not happy about something, so try using the words in a right manner so that the other person does not take it as an offense, so that the other person does not feel bad about it. You can still convey the message even if it is a complaint, even if it is a blame, by using right words. Most of the conflicts happen in any relationship, be with your parents, friends, or your partners. It is because of how you use your words wrongly. Okay. So this is about courtesy. So with this 7 C's topic is over. I hope I could add on something. So please let me know if there is any query so that after this we can coherence समझ नहीं आया ठीक है ऐसा करते हैं. So if I start, Karthik, can you unmute yourself? Karthik, if it is possible for you to unmute yourself, please do. Otherwise, even it is fine. I mean, there must have been times when you must have, I mean, there must have been times in your school days as well or in your college days when your teacher might have, said, talked about a story that might not have been relevant to what the teacher must be teaching. Now, in that case, one, you would get bored. Two, you might not be able to associate. Some of you might also say, "Yeah, कहना क्या चाह रहे हैं मतलब how is this thing related to the topic?" ऐसा आता है ना? क्यों आता है? Because it is not coherent. One. Two, well, let's say you write down something. So you write down things in paragraphs. Let's say there are 5 paragraphs, right? So the first paragraph must be related to the second paragraph. The ending of the first paragraph, the last few lines of the first paragraph must be related to the first line of the paragraph, because it cannot be totally incoherent. पहला पैराग्राफ दूसरे से रिलेटेड हो, दूसरा तीसरे से हो, तीसरा चौथे से हो, चौथा पांचवे से हो. So there will be a flow. If I would start teaching you cultural communication without discussing all of these things, basics of communication, then what would happen? It will be incoherent to you. This is coherence. Karthik, I hope I could make you understand. Yes, is there any other question? Do we have more
Can you
questions?
please
Please explain
explain concrete?
coherence again.
And what is the other question?
Concrete.
Explain coherence again.
Okay, coherence again. I'll give you another example. I have this phone. Achha, it's not. I have this phone, and if I have to, let's say this is a phone that my company has, come up with, and if I have to seek investment from some potential investors, now if I start talking about how this phone is very optically sensitive, takes care of your eyes, and then I start talking randomly about how eyes are important, how start exaggerating what many doctors have said, and I just add more and more and more and more information, which after a time the information seems redundant. One. Two, or it seems to you that यार ये तो related ही नहीं है. Come to the point. जब वो वाली feeling आ जाए, that means it is incoherent. So whatever you communicate, it must stick to the topic. It must be relevant. It must adhere to the context or the goal, right? So that is coherence. I hope now you have understood.
Yes.
Okay. Now somebody asked concreteness. Who was it? Can you just unmute yourself?
Yes, sir.
Charlene, I hope I'm answering you. I'm speaking your name
Yeah, that's
rightly.
correct.
Yes, Charlene. Charlene, I have a question to ask you. I'm giving you two cases. Tell me which case is better. Stay unmuted. It is fine. Charlene, who
Mhm.
is your best friend? Tell me your best friend's name.
It can be Kajal.
Can be Kajal. चलो ठीक है. Now, Charlene, case one ये है. Kajal comes to you and says, "Hi, Charlene. I went to a nearby mall today, and I liked an apparel there. Let's go and buy it someday." This is first case. Okay, Charlene. Now the second
Mm-hmm.
case. Kajal comes to you and says, "Hi, Charlene. I went to Phoenix Mall on MG Road today. I liked a dolphin pen. I liked the jewelry." देवेंद्र भाई भावनाओं पे नियंत्रण रखो यार. Okay. So, Charlene, second case. Yeah. So, Kajal comes to you and says that, "Hi, Charlene. I went to Phoenix Mall on MG Road today, and I liked a necklace with a dolphin pendant on it. Let's buy it. Let's go and buy it this evening." Now, Charlene, केस वन और केस टू, किस केस में आपको काजल ज्यादा पसंद आएगी, बताएं.
I think both of
Charlene.
them look quite similar.
Okay. So should we ask it to the public? Okay, now this question is for everybody. What do you think? Which one is better, case 1 or case 2? Please write in the chat box. Case 1 or case 2? Case 2, okay, Himanshi. Okay, so most of the students have written case 2. And why so? Because when we talk about case 1, things were not particularly told. Things were not told in a manner that Charlene would understand. Charlene के दिमाग में सवाल आएगा, यार कौन से मॉल गई थी, ये तो बता. अच्छा, फिनिक्स मॉल एक तो यहाँ पे भी एक यहाँ पे भी है, इनमें से कौन सा फिनिक्स मॉल? जैसे पैसिफिक मॉल दिल्ली में बहुत सारे हैं, कौन सा वाला पैसिफिक मॉल?
ये
ऐसा क्वेश्चन आएगा. और क्या सवाल आ सकता है? अपैरल बोल तो रही है, लेकिन क्या अपैरल में क्या चाहिए भाई, क्या देख के आई है, ये सवाल आ सकता है. भाई तू समडे बोल रही है, लेकिन कब चलना है देखने के लिए, खरीदने के लिए? सो टू अवॉइड ऑल दीज थिंग्स, सेकंड केस में क्या हुआ, थिंग्स वर स्पेसिफाइड. राइट, स्पेसिफाइड क्या था? फिनिक्स मॉल, एमजी रोड, टिक. Charlene would have the image in her mind. Two, jewelry, pendant लगा हुआ, dolphin pendant, tick. Third क्या था कि this that you are going to go with her this evening. Okay, so when things are specified particularly to you, you are able to make a sense of it holistically in a better manner. So that makes your content concrete. I hope, Charlene, now you understood with this example.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yes, Kashish. Thank you for putting that up here.
So, so that means like coherence is related to the relevancy of the subject matter to the communication happening, the relevance uh,
Yes,
of the content being shared over the communication.
yes, totally.
Okay.
All right, so we'll just go ahead with the next topic. Corporate communication, everyone. So we discussed about organizational communication. So when you talk about corporate communication, all the communication that happens within the organization or outside the organization, or any communication that is related to the functioning of the organization, that has the potential or is done to fulfill the organizational goal, that is called corporate communication. Now when we talk about stakeholders, there are internal stakeholders of any organization, or there are external stakeholders. Now, who are stakeholders? Stakeholders are all those people who have the potential to affect the organization, or may be affected by the organization, may get affected by the organization. Those are all stakeholders. Now, when we talk about internal stakeholders, so there may be board of directors, shareholders, employees, management. When we talk about external stakeholders, competitors, distributors, suppliers, customers. So all of these are external stakeholders. All of these people have vested interest, right? And for that, they communicate. This is called corporate communication. So a very basic definition of corporate communication is here in front of you. You may just read it once. So it is the total communication activity. But for what? To fulfill the company's goal, directed at all relevant target groups. So this corporate communication is directed towards a particular target group. So if the company has to respond to a particular RTI that has come, that is also a corporate communication. If the company has to respond to a customer's complaint, that is also corporate communication. If an employee complains about something to the employer and the employer responds, these are all corporate communication, right? So all a total sum of all the communication that is connected with that organization is corporate communication. Now moving ahead, why do organizations communicate? To acquire resources. So for example, if I have a bottle manufacturing company, now I would be needing raw material. So for that, I will have to communicate with somebody, right? That is corporate communication. Communication is required for this. To communicate with different stakeholders, this is also very much important. Employees के साथ communication important है, employer का या दूसरे employees का, to fulfill the organizational goal or to increase their loyalty. That communication is important. Just give me a minute. Hello. Hello. Good evening. Who is this? बच्चे 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 give me a call around 9 today, ठीक है? और better सुनो give me a call tomorrow around 3 p.m. ठीक है? ठीक है ना? Okay, bye. I think the screen has gone. I'll just put it back. Yeah. So the environment is influenced with the help of communication to retain the license, improve the image. So all these are the things, not all, but few, for which organizations need to communicate. Now, please look at this table. Now, when we talk about organizational communication or corporate communication, there may be vertical and horizontal communication, there may be internal and external communication, there may be formal and informal communication. We will understand all of these three one by one, though I have discussed these indirectly. Do you all remember when I discussed about superiors, peers, and subordinate? Do you remember these terms? Yes, everyone?
Yes, sir.
मैंने discuss किया था ना अभी superior, subordinate, and peers. Now,
Yes,
who are
sir.
superiors? Superiors are the people
Yes,
under
sir.
who other people work. Now, job क्या है फिर superiors का? To instruct, to command, to take reports, to suggest, not suggest, to command basically, and yeah, to set up targets. Now, point is, when these superiors make a communication to the people who are working under them, that is when we can imagine that the flow of information एक superior से एक subordinate पर जाएगा जब information, so flow of information will be downwards. Yes or no? I hope you are getting my
Yes,
point.
sir.
अगर 7 hierarchy है 1
Yes,
2
sir.
3 4 5 6 7, 1 to 7 पे, 1 to 5 पे, 1 से 6 पे, या 2 से 5 पे, 2 से 7 पे जाएगा, तो flow of information downwards है. In the similar manner, जब 6 से सेकंड पे जाएगा इंफॉर्मेशन, 5th से फर्स्ट पे जाएगा, फ्लो ऑफ इंफॉर्मेशन अपवर्ड है. इन द फर्स्ट केस इट
Upward.
इज कॉल्ड अपवर्ड कम्युनिकेशन, इन द सेकंड केस इट इज कॉल्ड डाउनवर्ड कम्युनिकेशन.
Sir.
दोनों को जब मिला देते हैं तो उसे कहते हैं वर्टिकल कम्युनिकेशन. ओके, दैट इज कॉल्ड वर्टिकल कम्युनिकेशन. But when we talk about peers, peers are the people who work on the same
Sir,
level. Yes.
सर आपकी तीन नहीं विजुअल हो रही.
हम दिखाई नहीं रहे स्क्रीन आपको, मन ही नहीं है मेरा. There is nothing. there on the screen. अभी जब PPT में important होगा, I'll definitely put that up. Thank you for pointing out.
Okay. Okay.
So when we talk about when peers communicate with each other, people who are at the same level. So for example, manager 1, manager 2, manager 3. So जब इनके बीच में communication होता है, तो flow of information is linear. Hence it is called lateral
Oh,
communication. It is called horizontal communication,
okay.
right? So I hope now you all have understood vertical communication and horizontal communication. If you have understood it, just write yes in the chat box so that I know that you have understood. Please be quick. That will also tell me that all of you are active over here. Okay. All right. So let's move ahead. Next one is internal and external communication. Now I'll give you a very day-to-day example, and then we'll try to understand it with relevance to organization. Now let's say you all are in MBA first semester, and if you are the filler words a component of effective communication. See, if you are not really confident about a particular topic, I think that's when we most oftenly use filler words. Now, one can't say that it makes the communication effective. There is definitely a problem in the uses of language or in the lack of information that you use filler words. So, obviously, that is done to make the communication more effective than how it would have been if those filler words would not have been used. But obviously it does not, I mean, it's not a really component of effective communication. It is done to support the communication that you are doing to somebody. I hope, Ganeep, your query is answered. So internal and external communication. So for example, you are semester 1 students, you are asked to arrange a workshop on, let's say, communication. So you will have to communicate amongst yourselves. So that will be internal communication. You will have to find out a resource person or people who can take that workshop. So for that, you will have to reach out to people outside this organization. So that is external communication. Now I'll give you an example from organizations. So if I have to sell my product, so I need to design marketing campaigns and uh, you know let's say come up with advertisements and all. So all the designing process that would happen, जो मैं अपने ideas जो हैं अपने कलीग्स के साथ डिस्कस करूंगा, अपने सीनियर्स के साथ डिस्कस करूंगा, उनसे अप्रूवल लूंगा, ऑल दिस कम्युनिकेशन इज इंटरनल कम्युनिकेशन. बट किसी न्यूज़पेपर एजेंसी को एडवर्टाइज करने के लिए मुझे भेजना है, मेल करना है, दैट न्यूज़पेपर एजेंसी इज नॉट part of my organization, hence is external to my organization. So the communication with the newspaper agency will be external communication.
Okay.
Okay, I hope internal and external communication both are clear. Now comes the last one, that is formal and informal communication, everyone. The formal communication is done with anybody with who you share a professional relationship. So your communication must be in that manner, your tone, your choice of words, your physical appearance, your facial expressions, your gestures, right? All of these things should align with the professionalism. Now, informal communication, if you don't have a professional relationship and the communication has to be done, that is informal communication. But there is a thing
सर
that, yes, please.
सर इनफॉर्मल से एग्जांपल जैसे लाइट मतलब फ्रेंड्स एंड रिलेटेड
Sorry. Friends and relatives.
इनफॉर्मल.
Yeah. Okay, Ashmit. Yeah, friends and relatives. Another example, how informal communication also happens in organizations. Now, earlier I was talking about that, if your organization, celebrates Diwali and they organize a Diwali party. Now, the organization is arranging the party for all its employees, but anything that you communicate in that office party should not be, a formal communication, because it's an informal gathering of all the people. So that should be also taken as informal communication. So informal communication may also happen in organizations. Okay.
Sir, another
Please.
example can be canteen gossips.
डेफिनेटली, बट इसमें एक पॉइंट है, इसमें ये पॉइंट है ना कि ठीक है, मतलब इनफॉर्मल कम्युनिकेशन होते हैं ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस में, बट द थिंग इज, do informal communication support the organizational goal? What do you all think? This is my question to all. Do you think informal communication has any role in supporting the activities of the organization or in achieving the organizational goal? What do you think? Just write yes or no. Do you
Yes.
think it supports? Write yes in the chat box. If you think it doesn't, write no in the chat box. Okay, Sarthak, Mayank, Charlene, Shivani, Shivangi, Akanksha. What about others? We have good 145 people here. Come on. Anjali, Amulya, Akshita. All right, guys. So most of you say yes, and I also agree to it. So to my friends who have written no, I'll just give you an example. So Shivangi, Charlene. Okay, इन दोनों ने no बोला है. Shivangi, Charlene, Mayank. If any one of you can unmute yourself. Okay, Mayank, I think we're here. Mayank, let's take an example. Mayank, let's say you are in an office meeting. Do you work somewhere, Mayank?
Yes, sir.
Mayank. तो ऑफिस मीटिंग में हो मयंक, और योर गर्लफ्रेंड कॉल्स यू अप, keeps on calling you. Why are you not responding? Why are you not responding? Why are you not responding? And now you are into your phone. And while you are into your phone, you, let's say, miss out on certain things that are being spoken in that meeting. Okay? Now you cannot
Yes.
speak with your friends or your colleagues and ask them कि भाई क्या बोल रहे हैं सर या क्या बोल रही है मैम. Now when the meeting is over, so you want to just, you know, understand what all you missed. So you go to your friend, let's say Devendra. You go to your friend Devendra and you ask, भाई मैंने कुछ मिस कर दिया क्या, just tell me what I missed. क्या बोल रहे थे, उसके बाद सर ने क्या बोला था. So Devendra बहुत अच्छा आदमी है. Devendra tells you, and now you have all the information with you. Now later, if you have to fulfill a task where all those things that you had missed earlier, you know, that is important. Now you gained it all through Devendra, right? So you'll be in a better position to fulfill that work. सो हैज इट नॉट हेल्प्ड यू, बिकॉज आपका देवेंद्र के साथ इनफॉर्मल कम्युनिकेशन हुआ, जहां पे देवेंद्र ने आपको बताया. तो वो इनफॉर्मल कम्युनिकेशन इस केस में कहीं ना कहीं आपको सपोर्ट ही कर रहा है ना, टू फुलफिल योर ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल गोल. सो देर आर टाइम्स व्हेन इनफॉर्मल कम्युनिकेशन ऑल्सो हेल्प्स यू टू, you know, achieve your organizational goal. Mayank, I hope I could make
Yes, sir.
some sense. Now, do you agree that it helps at times? Okay.
Yes,
So
sir. It has.
let's move ahead then.
Sir, I have a doubt.
Yeah, Tarun.
हाँ जी सर.
Yes, Tarun जी बोले.
सर आपने उसमें क्या कॉर्पोरेट कम्युनिकेशन में एक एग्जांपल दिया था कि एम्प्लॉयज को कोई कंप्लेंट हो तो वो एम्प्लॉयर्स को देते हैं और एम्प्लॉयर्स उसका फीडबैक देते हैं उनको. अगर उन्होंने फीडबैक नहीं दिया तो उसको कम्युनिकेशन नहीं मानेंगे.
देखो भाई, वो शाहरुख खान का डायलॉग है ना, एक तरफा प्यार की कीमत क्या होती है. सो पॉइंट वो है भाई, द अदर पर्सन does not love you, that is okay. You love, that is fine. Point is, if you are expecting a response and the other person does not respond, that still is communication. That still is a two-way communication. Because if you try to remember what I told about one-way and two-way communication, that if a response is expected from you, from the receiver, then that is two-way communication. If a response is not expected, then it is one-way communication.
One.
Even if the receiver does not give any response. यदि मैं तरुण, आपका नाम मैं 10 बार लेता हूँ, तरुण प्लीज रिस्पॉन्ड, 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 एंड तरुण आप रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करते हो, दैट डज नॉट मीन ये कम्युनिकेशन नहीं हुआ. आप चुप हो, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि ये कम्युनिकेशन हुआ नहीं. Your silence is also a form of feedback, because when we talk about non-verbal communication, non-verbal ways of communication, silence is also a part of it. Okay, Tarun?
Got it, sir.
I hope समझ में आया ना तरुण, मतलब ऐसा तो बहुत
Yes,
ऐसा तो
sir.
नहीं समझ आया.
Clear है.
ठीक है. Okay. I hope my screen is visible again. So we have studied vertical, horizontal, internal, external, formal, informal. Now let's go ahead with why communication skills are important for a manager, and what are the communication skills that a manager needs to have. So when organizational goal has to be fulfilled, right? So for that, people are chosen. Who should the employer rely on? Who should the employer give that work? What work should be given to who? So for that, communication is required. If you have good communication skills, so people would rely more on you. Your employer would have more faith on you. You will be a better person to fulfill the organizational goal. Now, if you have good communication skills, you will be in a better position to understand the nitties gritties of the organization, intricacies of the organization, the fundamentals on which the organization is running, and you'll be in a better position to fulfill those organizational goals. Then establish and maintain trust in the organizational leadership. For this also communication is important. As a manager, if you have good communication skills, your subordinates would have trust in you. They would see you as a leader, right? And if there is a change that has to be made, so for the initiation and the management of it, if you have good communication skills as manager, that would help. Now leave it. Leave it. Come to functions of corporate communication. Now here are a few functions of corporate communication. We have already studied internal communication. We have PR, everyone. We have communication during crisis. We have marketing or client communication, customer communication. Let's study all of these one by one. Now, when we talk about PR, all of us must have heard this term a lot of times,
Public.
right? PR is public relations. Now, in most of the companies, there is this PR team which looks after the development of the image of the company to somehow make the relationship between the company and the customers or the public in general better, to inform and aware the public about any, let's say, new thing that has been done by the company, maybe a new product or service that has been launched. And how is it done? So it is done through press, social media, और इन पर्सन एंगेजमेंट्स. आपके प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेस भी हो सकते हैं, इंटरव्यूज कंडक्ट हो सकते हैं. बट एक चीज का ध्यान रखना है, पीआर इज ऑलवेज अनपेड. यू डोंट पे फॉर पीआर. You organized, you came up with a product, and your CEO has to say something about the product, and you organized a launch event. So उससे related आप एक press release निकालते हैं and you send it to 10 different newspaper agencies, and 5 of them feel like publishing it in their newspaper and they don't charge you for it. That's the work of the PR. With that, what would happen? People would get to know about what you have launched. People would get to know about your product, and that would definitely help in achieving the organizational goal. So, PR अपनी activities करता कैसे है? By organizing press conferences, planning and executing product launch events, drafting and circulating press releases. Press release करते हैं, दूसरे मीडिया एजेंसीज एंड चैनल्स हैं उनसे कनेक्ट करते हैं, सो दैट द इंफॉर्मेशन कैन बी कन्वेड टू द जनरल पब्लिक. Always remember that PR is different from advertising. Advertising is paid. You pay for a particular space in the newspaper. You pay for a particular time for which your advertisement would be played on YouTube, on news channels or different other digital platforms, right? So that is advertising. Arey, just hold on. That is advertising. Now media controls the content in PR because you are not paying anything to them. अगर आप एक पेज का प्रेस रिलीज लिख के देते हैं, हो सकता है they cut it short to 15 lines, 10 lines. But when you talk about advertisement, you pay for each word, so it is fine. You pay more and they will publish it. So there are other differences as well. These were important, so I just discussed these ones. So finally, we can conclude with this definition by Public Relations Society of America. Public relations is a strategic communication process that builds mutually beneficial relationships. Mutually beneficial relationships कैसे? So the company also benefits when information is conveyed to the public. The public is aware about a new product, has a new option with them, so it helps the public as well. So it is mutually beneficial process. दोनों के relationship जो है वो mutually beneficial होते हैं दोनों के लिए, between the organization and their publics. So this was about PR. Then there is something called positive PR and negative PR. See, the ultimate idea of PR is definitely positive only. Ultimate जो purpose है वो positive है, but then there is something called positive PR and negative PR. When you do PR activities so as to reach out to people to for positive purposes, the idea, the reason is positive. सो दैट इज पॉजिटिव पीआर. आप सोशल मीडिया पे कुछ कंटेंट डालते हैं, इन्फ्लुएंसर्स को कुछ भेजते हैं सो दैट दे टॉक अबाउट योर प्रोडक्ट और सर्विस, राइट. आप लाइव जाते हैं इंस्टाग्राम पे, आप ट्विटर पे कुछ पोस्ट करते हैं, पॉजिटिव पीआर. नेगेटिव पीआर क्या है? जब जो रीजन है बिकॉज ऑफ विच पीआर एक्टिविटी इज बीइंग डन, वो रीजन नेगेटिव हो. सो फॉर एग्जांपल, आपकी कंपनी जो है वो फेशियल क्रीम्स बनाती है, and your creams have caused skin hazards to people. Now people have complained about your product and publicly बहुत ज्यादा आपकी इमेज डाउन हो रही है. उस केस में जो पीआर काम करती है वो नेगेटिव पीआर होता है. ऐसा नहीं है वो जो काम करेगी वो नेगेटिव होगा, बट जो रीजन है जिसकी वजह से पीआर एक्टिविटीज हो रही है दैट इज नेगेटिव, दैट इज रॉन्ग, जिसको करेक्ट करने के लिए पीआर एक्टिविटीज की जा रही है. हेंस this type of PR is called negative PR, done to do damage control, to put up an apology message, to restore the image of the company. So for all that is negative PR. I hope
Sir,
yes.
sir, can you explain this again, which you have explained?
What?
Negative PR and positive PR.
देखो जी, ऐसा है, अगर आपका रीजन, when the reason for which the PR activity is done, that is positive, then it is a positive PR. If the reason is negative, then it is a negative PR. You launched a new product. Obviously, the information should reach out to the people, to the target groups.
Yes.
So if you do the PR activities, that is a positive PR. If you already have a product and let's say उसकी फैक्ट्री में आग लग गई, आपके कुछ वर्कर्स मर गए, ठीक है,
Yes.
कंपनी की इमेज खराब हुई, लीगल एक्शन होगा, बहुत सारी चीजें होंगी, उससे लॉस हो सकता है, ऑर्गेनाइजेशनल गोल जो है वो कहीं ना कहीं बहुत ज़्यादा अफेक्ट होगा. अब कंपनी की इमेज को इम्प्रूव करने के लिए आप जो पीआर एक्टिविटीज करेंगे वो नेगेटिव पीआर होगा, क्योंकि वो पीआर करने का रीजन क्या है? कुछ ना कुछ नेगेटिव ही है. ठीक है.
Okay,
Okay.
sir. Okay. Fine.
Okay, I hope everybody is clear with PR. Is everyone clear with this topic of PR?
Sir, I just want to ask one thing. This negative PR is done to shift the narrative of the image that the business has. Is it about shifting the narrative or
Yeah.
and converting into a positive impact, positive PR?
Shifting the narrative is the process, or maybe a minor
So
outcome. The
negative.
major outcome is to improvise the image, the tarnished image of the company.
Okay.
और श्रेष्ठा
Okay, sir.
जरूरी नहीं है ना कि मान लो किसी कंपनी को मुझे डिफेम करना है, ठीक है, मैं 10 लोगों को बोलता हूँ लेट्स पोस्ट समथिंग नेगेटिव अबाउट दैट कंपनी. हमने किया, अब पीआर टीम जो है इस कंपनी की एक्टिव होगी बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली इनका इमेज टार्निश हो रहा है. नाउ द पॉइंट इज द कंपनी इज नॉट रॉन्ग, but still they have to work on it because due to this defamation they will be at loss of customers, loss of their image, financial loss, a lot of losses would be there, right? So to overcome that,
Right.
they would have to somehow come up with PR activities, तो वो भी negative PR में ही आएंगे. Okay.
Okay. Okay, right, sir. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question, anyone? Okay. If not, we'll just move ahead.
सर अगर कंपनी में कोई पीआर डिपार्टमेंट नहीं है तो क्या हो?
अगर कंपनी में कोई पीआर डिपार्टमेंट नहीं है, देन ऐसे क्राइसिस सिचुएशन में कोई ना कोई तो फिर लीड लेगा ही ना कुछ काम करने के लिए. उसके लिए किसी और को करना पड़ेगा अगर डेजिग्नेटेड पीआर टीम नहीं है तो. ठीक है. नाउ व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट strategies of communication in relation with organizations, there can be situations of crisis in a company. We just discussed कि पीआर टीम क्यों काम करती है. सो कंपनीज में ना देर आर, बड़ी कंपनीज में देर आर क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट टीम एज वेल. देर इज अ क्राइसिस मैनेजमेंट टीम एज वेल where there are few employees responsible to work in relation with any potential crisis, or when the crisis really happens, or even in post crisis situations. So crisis communication plan बनाना जरूरी है. Crisis communication क्या है? So any communication that is made to avoid crisis, or when the crisis actually comes up, then to you know to work on the image of the company to make things better for that company, that is also crisis communication. Or after the crisis, when the crisis has been dealt with, फ्यूचर में उसके कुछ इश्यूज ना और हों, उसके लिए क्या आप इनिशिएटिव्स ले सकते हैं, क्या प्लान्स हो सकते हैं. सो for that, if any communication is made, then that is also crisis communication. Now if we look at the definition that we have here, a crisis communication plan is a set of guidelines used to prepare a business for an emergency or unexpected event. कि भविष्य में कोई ऐसा कुछ ना हो उसके लिए आप प्लान्स बनाते हो, स्ट्रैटेजीज बनाते हो बिफोर हैंड. दैट इज क्राइसिस कम्युनिकेशन. दीज प्लान्स इंक्लूड स्टेप्स टू टेक व्हेन अ क्राइसिस फर्स्ट इमर्जेस. और जब वो क्राइसिस एक्चुअली में होगा या हो जाता है, तब भी आप जो कम्युनिकेशन करते हो वो भी क्राइसिस कम्युनिकेशन प्लान का हिस्सा है, वो भी क्राइसिस कम्युनिकेशन है. And how to communicate with people and how to prevent the issue from occurring again in future, any crisis of the same kind or a different kind that does not happen, उसके लिए भी जो आपके communication होगी, that is also crisis communication. Sorry. I hope this idea is clear to you. We'll further discuss it in details. Can we have a 5 minutes break? I need water. I need to have water. Just 2 to 3 minutes break. Just need to have water. I hope we all can take a break of 2 to 3 minutes. I guess we started at 3, right? To 1.5. When did we start, by the way?
3 only, sir.
He
3,
third was
5.
So let's take 3 minutes break. We will continue at 4:30. Okay.
Okay.
If you have any questions, please be ready with your questions, or you can just type in the chat box. I'll take up your questions first, and then we'll continue from crisis
Sure.
communication.
And
Yes.
sir, can you show that slide so that for the timing we can read that slide, like the slide which we just showed after the crisis communication.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. All right, then let's continue. I hope we can continue now. Okay. All right. Now, what are the tips for handling crisis communication? Discuss responses before reacting. So, when a crisis happens, you have a lot of tweets coming up, people are abusing you, blaming you, claiming whatnot. Then, should you just react? You know, please don't. Try to discuss responses with the crisis management team, and amongst the crisis management team the discussion can be there, but the communication must be made promptly, because the more time you will take to respond, the more time you will take to come up with your side of statement, आपका उतना ही फाइनेंशियल लॉस होगा, इमेज का लॉस होगा. सो बेटर कम्युनिकेट प्रॉम्प्टली एंड क्लियरली. Prioritize your customer risks and concern. So whatever you communicate, try to prioritize your customer risks and concerns, right? Even if it takes some loss, some financial loss at your end, for for a short time, just bear it, so that you don't lose your reputation, so that you don't lose your customer base. There have been cases like that which I have discussed in the offline classes. So for example, OnePlus phone की company है. OnePlus phone, one of these phones had some problem wherein the screen started having lines. So the company said that you can get that particular phone to our official outlets, and you can buy the next version phone. I mean, if it is OnePlus 11, you can buy OnePlus 12, and we'll give you a heavy discount on it. We'll also be providing you certain this some accessories. Now, definitely it would lead to some short time loss to the one plus company, but then when we look at the longer goal, so what is happening, the customers are satisfied, they are happy about the fact that they will be able to upgrade to the next phone by just paying by just paying some money and by giving heavy discounts, and they would also have some accessories from this company's side. So always prioritize your customers risks and concerns. Educate and support employees. All the employees must be educated about it, and uh, in important details related to certain products or services must be shared with them, so that they are also aware and they also help the company to deal with the crisis situation by making the right crisis communication. One can use right modern communication technological tools, uh, you know technological tools, and I would say social media channels. Monitor sentiment and assess business impact. So, for example, if the crisis is there, then who all it is affecting? What is the sentiment of the public, the target group? So, accordingly, you make the communication. Elements of crisis communication. So, you initially identify potential business risk. क्या क्या risk हो सकते हैं? So, you make your crisis plan as per that. List crisis response team members. So, if this kind of trouble would arise, if it is related to cyber things, it is related to social media, then these are the people who are going to look after it. If it is related to marketing, these are the people who are going to look after it. If it is a legal thing, these are the people who are going to look after it. Identify stakeholders. So it is important to identify stakeholders and target groups. उसके हिसाब से ही आपके crisis communication plan बन सकते हैं. Designate strong spokesperson. So people who face the media, people who give the statements out in the public, they should be having strong communication skills. Develop and prioritize crisis communication channels. What all channels are you going to use? Are you just going to use the use newspaper as a channel, or maybe social media? So you need to decide. Outline crisis examples and corresponding actions. So while you make the communication plan in the organization, you should also discuss some crisis situations, some crisis examples, and how the team needs to deal with that particular crisis. Okay, so this was about crisis communication. Now comes this word marketing. Now when we talk about marketing communication, so it's basically this, encapsulated in this particular diagram. There is a product, the information of the product has to reach the target audience. Now the communication that is related to this whole process is called marketing communication. Okay. Okay. Now marketing communication is also called as client communication. It's the realm of marketing department in most of the companies. It is done through brochures. So if a new spa is open, so it will come up with a brochure of it, of all the services that it has to offer. Flyers, if a new mobile phone has come in the market, so there may be flyers, circulated. Newsletters हो सकते हैं, posting content on social media platforms. This is another way of marketing communication, blogs, and then there are ample number of ways, including the reviews, the review product reviews, right? The product reviews, the whole of influencers market that is there on the social media, that is all doing marketing communication. Skipping these things, let's come to tools of corporate communication. So when we talk about tools of corporate communication, we have written mode. You can communicate in any organization through emails, reports, advertisements, press releases, memorandums, blogs, notices, website. When you have to speak and convey things in any organization, you have meetings, symposiums, interviews, seminars, press conferences, panel discussions. Non-verbal communication, use images, visual communication, infographics. So for example, many companies also have their whole of the advertisement on metro these days. Metro में देखते हो पूरे पूरे गेट पे, पूरे पूरे मेट्रो पे भी एडवर्टीजमेंट्स हो रहे हैं. अंबुजा सीमेंट का एडवर्टीजमेंट हो रहा है. Have you seen that, all of you? So there is nobody who is
Yes, sir.
speaking there. There is nothing even written there. Even if there is an image that is conveying the idea. So that is again a way of corporate communication. So these are the topics, major topics of this unit. Now let's talk about few other topics of this unit, and I think in the next 10 minutes we'll be done with this unit. So listening is the ability of processing what we hear, and it is done in this 5 stages. You receive the information, you understand it in your brain, then you remember the things that are told to you, you evaluate all these things, and finally you give feedback. So it employs your ears, your mouth, and your brain. This is the major part. These three. These are all the steps. Now, why is listening important? It is important so that you can avoid communication errors. It helps you to learn something new. It is the key to success. Now, what are the listening skills? So prepare. You need to read the things. So for example, today we were supposed to have revision class. So if you would have read and then come to this class, you would be in a better position to understand things and listen to me in a better manner. Pay attention. All of you should pay attention, as in you need not distract yourself. बार बार phone में ही देखना, reels नहीं चलाने. I hope you are not scrolling your reels, your Instagram reels, though I do that a lot during most my activities. You must not while studying. So do not interrupt. So while somebody is saying something to you while you are listening, try not interrupting unnecessarily unless it is important. Empathize. If somebody is conveying something to you, try empathizing with that person, because when you will be in the position, you will also face the same situation. So better not cause trouble to the person who is speaking something, because that way it will also help you to listen things better. Now, asking question is important. If you are not able to listen to something, if you have missed out on something, try asking it, sir, what did you just say? That is okay. The other person would convey it. Refrain from premature evaluation. Do not judge the other person and listen to that person through that filter, because you might not be able to listen with a positive intention, and that will affect the communication goal. Feedback is important. If you have understood something, if you have not understood something, if you have something to add on, it is important to give a feedback as well. There are these types of listening, my
Sir,
friends. Yes.
active.
Please,
Sir,
could
can
you
you give
please
an
explain
example?
again?
Like,
Empathize.
What is empathy? Empathy is the basic idea of keeping yourself in the other person's shoes, right? If I am saying something to you, you are supposed to listen. If you keep on interrupting in between unnecessarily, what would happen? You will not be able to understand things in a better manner. Now, if you are in my position, imagine yourself in my position. You might
Okay.
also get irritated after some time. You might not be able to deliver things well. Then I won't be able to understand. So that's empathy. कि आपको इस तरह से सुनना चाहिए. Listening skill में empathy का एक और part क्या है? if somebody has come up with a complaint, somebody is blaming you, so listen empathetically as well. Try to understand their position too, right? That is empathy.
What about refrain?
Refrain is basic repetition.
Okay.
Hmm.
We do not have to repeat again and again. It is.
I don't get your point. Please elaborate it.
Could you please explain again refrain point? That will help us.
Which point?
Refrain.
But your refrain is when you repeat something, right? So what exactly are you trying to ask? Yes, yes, please repeat your question properly so that I can help you out.
Are we back to the previous slide?
Chetan, okay. Yes. अच्छा,
Refrain
refrain
from
from premature. अरे बाबा,
premature evaluation.
ये refrain. Yeah, see, you should not refrain here means you should not do it. Avoid it. You should avoid premature evaluation. For example, if you see a particular person and you feel like इसे क्या ही आता होगा, एंड आप इस चीज को ध्यान में रख के फिर उसका लेक्चर सुनते हैं या उस मीटिंग में उसकी सुनते हैं, तो क्या है, आपके दिमाग में ऑलरेडी वो फिल्टर आ गया है, प्रीमेच्योर इवैल्यूएशन आ गया कि इसको क्या ही आता होगा, ये क्या ही कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा. So when you will listen to that person, so even if that person has something very good to offer you, you might not be able to understand that person well or listen to that person well. So refrain, avoid premature evaluation. अभी समझ में आया क्या?
Yes, sir. Got it. Thank you so much.
Okay, जी. Guys, here are these 5 types of listening skills, 5 types of listening. Active listening, this is the ideal form of listening where you listen to things properly, you are actively participating in the things, you give a proper feedback. Pseudo listening is basically false listening. You just pretend that you are listening, but you don't actually listen. Selective listening, you select what you want to listen and avoid everything else. Insulated
Sir,
listening, yes, ma'am. Who is it?
sir, could you repeat pseudo listening?
Pseudo, the word pseudo means false. When you just pretend that you are listening, but you don't actually listen. क्लास में आप बैठे हो, आप pretend कर रहे हो, आप सुन रहे हो, but आप सुन नहीं रहे हो, समझ नहीं रहे हो. So that is pseudo listening. Selective listening, ठीक है, pseudo
So,
listening clear?
sir, so what the difference between the listening and hearing?
Listening is a mental activity. Listening is a mental activity. You process the things that you hear.
Okay,
You
sir.
may hear a lot of noises. एक बात बता बहन. You go to the market. क्या नाम है तुम्हारा? अनामिका.
Smita.
क्या नाम है?
अरे
सुष्मिता.
अंशुल इधर आ.
Yes, sir.
Sushmita, you go to the market with
इधर आ
your
इधर
mother.
आ इधर आ.
You go to market with your mother and तुम थोड़ी आगे निकल जाती हो, ठीक है. आसपास से किसी और की माँ ने आवाज लगाया, बेटा इधर आ. दूसरे की माँ आवाज लगा रही है, सुन क्यों नहीं रही. तुम्हारी मम्मी आवाज लगा रही है, बेटा पीछे. तुम तीनों में से किसको सुनोगी और किसको समझोगी, किस पे एक्ट करोगी. आवाज तो तीनों के आएंगे, ठीक है. दैट इज
Yes, sir.
हियरिंग. बट एक्ट किस पे करोगी? when you feel that your mother is speaking,
Yes, sir.
because you process that in your head that it is my mother, let's go to her. So you may hear a lot of sounds, so you that is hearing, but when you process on a particular sound that you hear, that is listening. Yes, Anamika, do you want to say something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I wanted to say something on pseudo listening. Like you said that in pseudo listening, somebody is pretending to hear you, but he or she is not hear you in reality, ignoring you. Now, what is the and is there any such term where somebody is listening to somebody is pretending that he or she is not listening to us, but in reality, he or she is listening. Putting in another words, he or she is
उसे कहते हैं
pretending.
उसे कहते हैं नखरे. Anamika, that is called nakhre. Yeah, Anamika, there is no such term for that. I mean, in psychology, there might be something relatable to it. There may be some psychological term. I am not aware of it. But technically, when we talk about communication और उसमें listening skills की बात करते हैं, तो इस चीज पे particularly as such कोई term मुझे ध्यान नहीं आ रहा है. I'm sorry. इससे शायद मैं आंसर ना कर पाऊँ in terms of listening skills per se technically. But I am sure psychologically कुछ ना कुछ होगा. Yeah.
Sir, I asked this question to you क्योंकि ना मैंने वैसे लोगों को बहुत डे टू डे लाइफ में वो देखा है कि उनका कान तो खुला रहता है, बट just to I don't know, either to insult someone, he or she pretends कि he or she is ignoring us, not listening to us, लेकिन रियलिटी में वो सुनते हैं.
That's a
इसलिए
behavioral trait, na? That's a behavioral trait. Don't confuse it with listening, types of listening. That's a behavioral trait. Okay.
fine sir.
Okay.
Sir, and एक बार listening and hearing, if you can explain the difference once again. मुझे
Here,
ठीक से
on your screen, बहन. On your screen. अच्छा, screen ही चला गया. Okay, hold on. Okay. Here. Any sound that comes to your ear without any effort, that is hearing. Listening is when you pay attention, you process your mind over the sound that comes to your ear. It is not a conscious process, it is a conscious process. You deliberately put your consciousness all over it, you pay attention to it, you process your mind over it so that you can act. That happens in the listening process, but it is not like that in hearing process. Okay.
Thank you sir.
Okay, ma'am. Then my friends, the last one is stage hogging. So when you plan interruptions every now and then, अब बार बार interrupt करते हो, but that is not done to for any positive purpose. That is just to interrupt or to seek attention. That is called stage hogging. Okay, so there are these types of listening.
Good.
Now moving ahead, there are few barriers to effective listening.
Sir, I think sorry to interrupt, sir. I think we skipped insulated listening.
Insulated listening is when you avoid somebody or something and don't listen to that person or about that thing and listen to everything else. That is called insulated listening.
Okay. So not hearing the relevant things and all other things.
Barriers to effective listening. So do not do prejudgment. Do not assume that the speaker is going to give you relevant information. If you come late in the class or in the meeting, you will definitely not be able to understand everything. Hence, it will not be an effective listening. Lack of concentration is another barrier, right? Speaker or listener, when he or she gets distracted, अगर मैं बोल रहा हूँ, मैं बार बार फोन में ऐसे देखते देखते बोलूँ, मुझे बार बार फोन आए, या आप रील स्क्रॉल कर रहे हो, या मैं रील स्क्रॉल कर रहा हूँ, इंस्टाग्राम चला रहा हूँ और पढ़ा रहा हूँ, definitely that will also affect effective listening. How to listen effectively then? Stop talking, be silent. So don't talk amongst yourselves when you are in a meeting or in front of somebody. Be silent and listen. Show interest दिखना चाहिए, and that will come if you have done some pre reading, या आप उसको समझना चाह रहे हो, आपको पता है कि वो गोल important है आपके लिए. Empathize. I just discussed asking questions. I discussed maintaining eye contact. Even as a receiver, even as a listener, you should maintain the eye contact with the speaker. Take notes. Taking down notes is important, because after a 2-hour lecture, if I ask you about something that I discussed In the first 10 minutes, you should be able to remember it. And if you think there is something that you might just forget, try taking notes. That helps. Listening creatively, so you should not just think on the things that I convey to you. कुछ और examples आपके mind में आ रहे हों, कुछ और relative चीजें आ रही हों, that means you are listening creatively. Put your entirety. Do not be distracted. Send feedback. If there is something that you want to convey, something that you want to ask, tell. Avoid or eliminate distraction. Keep away all the things that distract you. Try to gather information about the topic. So ये जो prepare वाला part जो मैंने पहले बताया था कि अगर आपको पता है मीटिंग किस बारे में है, so उसके लिए कुछ आप पहले से तैयारी करके आइए. You will be a better listener than everybody else. Verbal, non-verbal skills I have already discussed. I'm skipping that. Presentation skills, it is important. So how you present yourself in front of somebody through oral or through written manner. So whenever you make an effective presentation, try to be brief. Use the language as per the audience. If I start speaking in French, most of you won't understand it, right? So I should better use English language because that is as per the context, and I use Hindi, very meager Hindi in between, so that you are able to understand certain things which you are not able to. Information in logical fashion. Everything that you convey must be coherent and must be conveyed in a logical fashion. ऐसा नहीं है पहले बहुत ज़्यादा हैवी चीज़ बता दी, उसका जो बैकग्राउंड वाली चीज़ है वो बाद में बताया. First tell the background, then come to the exact thing. Some humor won't harm, even if you are cracking jokes in between. If you're telling some humorous thing, it is okay, but do not overdo it, and it should be related, it should be coherent to the context of the communication. How you deliver it, that is also important. You should know the number of people who are there, because according to that you are going to communicate. Age gap, age group क्या है, because एक particular age group के साथ अगर मैं technology पे discussion करता हूँ, AI tools पे discussion करता हूँ, तो लेट्स से स्कूल गोइंग स्टूडेंट्स के साथ मेरी डिस्कशन एआई टूल्स पे अलग होगी, कॉलेज स्टूडेंट्स के साथ अलग होगी, जो कॉर्पोरेट वर्ल्ड में जो लोग काम करते हैं उनके साथ अलग होगा. एजुकेशन क्या है, टारगेट ग्रुप कैसा है, नेचर ऑफ रिलेशनशिप स्पीकर और लिसनर का कैसा है, that is also important and should be taken care of when to make effective presentation. Why are you know doing that presentation? Always remember that will help you to stick to the topic. Where is it happening? That will help you to set up the logistics. क्या आपको माइक की जरूरत है, क्या आपको प्रोजेक्टर चाहिए? When is it happening, so that you wish the people accordingly. ठीक है. टाइम स्लॉट जानना इंपॉर्टेंट है, टाइम जानना इंपॉर्टेंट है. व्हाट टाइम ऑफ द डे इज इट, व्हाट स्लॉट हैव यू बीन गिवन, कितना टाइम आपको बोलने के लिए मिला है, सो दैट यू यूटिलाइज द टाइम अकॉर्डिंगली. ओके. एंड देन व्हाट डिटेल, ऑडियंस डिटेल्स आपको क्या कन्वे करना है एग्जैक्टली आपको पता होना चाहिए. ऑडियंस इंटरेस्ट, व्हाट इंटरेस्ट द ऑडियंस, सो बेटर use better convey those things as per the interest of the audience as well. Audience relatability, it is important to also understand or to also convey the things with which the audience relates. Visual content हो तो और better है. So for example, you have a visual content in front of you. Keep notes if you think you may miss out on some things, so you can always keep notes. Eye contact is important. If you are presenting something, there should be good eye contact with the people. Dressing for the occasion is important. You need to dress up properly as per the occasion. Your voice should be clear. Your voice should be in that much volume that it should be audible to everybody. You should have a good posture. Gesture should be correct. So these are the things that make your presentation effective. Now, the last topic of this particular unit, and I'm taking most of the time in this particular unit because most of the questions come from this unit. So for the last topic, hold on. I hope it is visible to you. Yes, is it visible to you, the green screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Now,
sir.
image is everything to any organization, right? So if a company's image is being tarnished wrongly, so there can be a legal action that the company may take on that particular consumer or that particular person who may have tarnished the image of the company. If the company has done something wrong and the consumer files a complaint, so obviously the company's image will be affected. So there are certain legal issues that may also arise when we talk about any organization. एक lawsuit face कर सकता है organization, and there are a lot of legal charges. Now, what kind of legal issues that can be there and how to deal with it? Let's try to understand it. So there can be defamation. It is the act of causing harm to another's reputations. For example, I speak wrongly about somebody's product or someone, so that is also defamation. I write something bad about somebody, harming that person's image, that is also defamation. So oral defamation is called slander, written defamation is called libel. Now, how do I do this? Maybe I do this by publication, or I just, I just convey it in public through oral medium. Now, there are two types of defamations. One is privileged defamation, second is non-privileged defamation. Now, privileged defamation क्या होती है? Where you have some rights to defame somebody. Now, absolute defamation क्या होता है? Absolute privilege क्या होता है? It is with the legal bodies. जो कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ है उसके पास होता है कि वो कुछ भी कह सकता है कंपनीज के बारे में, राइट? सो दैट इज एब्सोल्यूट प्रिविलेज दैट कोर्ट्स हैव. क्वालिफाइड प्रिविलेज क्या होता है? जैसे लेट्स से कंपनी के ओनर के पास कुछ प्रिविलेजेस हैं जिसकी वजह से जिसको यूज करके वो डिफेम कर सकता है अपने एम्प्लॉय को, बट दैट शुड बी रिलेटेड टू द फंक्शनिंग ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, हिज रिलेशनशिप विद द एम्प्लॉय. उसके अलावा उसके पर्सनल लाइफ पे या किसी और चीज पे की वजह से अगर वो डिफेम करता है, देन दैट इज a problematic situation. Breach of privacy: one should not invade someone's private affairs, otherwise there can be a legal action taken, right? So if we come up with a toffee in the market, and we use AI to make Amitabh Bachchan advertise for us. So Amitabh Bachchan may file a case against us because we are appropriating his name and his image for our benefit, for our monetary benefit. Misrepresentation and fraud: if false information about some particular product, some particular company. Sorry, if the
Excuse me, sir.
yes.
Sir, breach of privacy is the same as like violating the personality rights. Like so many celebrities go to the High Court or Supreme Court that our personality rights are violated. We can say like that.
Yes.
Okay.
Breach of privacy
Like
is
using
also about if an information is supposed to be with somebody, and you use your so for example, XYZ a person works in XYZ department, you work in ABC department, and you know in a very unsolicited manner, and which is against the policies, you access that person's system, and you access the information. That is also breach of privacy.
Okay. So can you please make it clear about absolute and qualified privilege in the previous slide?
See, absolute privilege is when you have all the rights to defame somebody. कोर्ट ऑफ लॉ में कोर्ट जो है, जज जो है, वो कुछ भी कह सकता है. यू हैव नथिंग अगेंस्ट दैट पर्सन. और दूसरा क्या था, लिमिटेड जो है आपके पास क्या कहते हैं, लिमिटेड राइट्स हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल, कंपनी का जो हेड है, कंपनी का जो सीईओ है, उसके पास एब्सोल्यूट राइट्स नहीं है. उसके पास क्वालिफाइड है वो कुछ ही चीज़ों के लिए जिसके लिए आपको डिफेम कर सकता है. इफ यू हैव नॉट बीन वर्किंग प्रॉपरली, he can claim anything on that. He can tarnish your image on the basis of that. But if he crosses the limit, if he starts defaming you based on something else apart from what he is qualified to, then that is qualified privilege. That does not fall under qualified privilege. तो कुछ ही चीजें हैं जिसपे वो डिफेम कर सकता है. Okay.
When someone has total privilege of like defaming,
your voice is not clear.
Is it better now?
Slightly, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm saying that absolute privilege will be something which when someone can basically have basically the full power to tarnish or defame your image, and that will be accepted by the public in general as well, and there are no measures to change it. And then qualified is something like the other person has the privilege to change or to defame you, but then you'll have some measures against it too. Is
Yeah.
it regarding that or something related to it?
Yeah, what you are saying is totally right. Okay. So copyright violation. So for example, if you have written a book and somebody else copies, the things from that book and publish that as his or her own. So that is plagiarism. That is a copyright violation. You can file charges against that person. Similarly, what happens in many companies, many people, you know, कोई एक नया फॉर्मूला आया कोई एक पर्टिकुलर क्रीम बनाने का, उस कंपनी का एक एम्प्लॉय दूसरी कंपनी में जाता है और वो क्या करता है, वहाँ लीक कर देता है. So breach of privacy भी आएगा, copyright violation भी आएगा, because on that intellectual property it was the company's, the first company's right, and copyright, and the other company, if they use that, then that is a copyright violation. Employment and promotional communication. So for example, XYZ company, makes a promotional communication and ABC company does it in the same manner. So काफी बार होता है. अभी किस कंपनी के साथ, दो तीन ऐसी कंपनीज के केस रहे हैं जिसमें जो उनका वो है ना, क्या कहते हैं, लोगो लोगो ऐसा है, लोगो का यूज किया गया है. मतलब XYZ कंपनी के लोगों को दूसरी कंपनी ने क्या क्या सिमिलर लोगो जो है यूज कर लिया. सो पहली कंपनी ने दूसरी कंपनी पे लॉ सूट फाइल कर दिया ऑफ कॉपीराइट वायलेशन. मैं आई विल गिव यू एन एग्जांपल, मुझे याद नहीं आ रहा, जस्ट गिव मी अ सेकंड. कॉपीराइट कौन सी कंपनी का
Sir,
भी लेटेस्ट आता है?
जैसे there was an example of Burger King and Burger Singh. They
सिंह.
fought over the similar
यस.
names. Yes.
यस. हाँ, इसका
Recently,
लेकोस्ट
No,
का
sir.
आया
There was
था.
that case.
The brand.
सॉरी.
No, sir. Actually, burgers. Sir, there was already a brand which was existed before Burger King in India itself. So in Pune itself. So
ओके.
Yes, that's
that
why he
guy
won
filed
that
a case.
title.
He won.
ऐसे बहुत केसेस आते हैं यार, सॉन्ग से रिलेटेड ऐसा केस आता है, व्हेन यू यूज द यूज द music of a particular song from, let's say, from any other language, and then you produce your own song based on that music. Then again, that the company who has produced that particular music, or the individual who has produced that music, might just file a case against the other company or the other person. So such is the case of copyright violation against which, uh, yes.
Sir, this is Anamika. Is there any difference between plagiarism and copyright?
ऐसा है बहन, plagiarism is a type of copyright violation. Plagiarism is a type of copyright violation. Copyright violation is an umbrella term. Okay.
सर तो फिर कॉपीराइट वायलेशन, ये जो अम्ब्रेला टर्म है, इसमें और क्या क्या आएगा अदर देन प्लेजरिज्म?
प्लेजरिज्म के अलावा आप जो है किसी का पेटेंट कॉपी कर सकते हैं. इन्फ्रिंजमेंट होता है व्हेन यू फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स से एडिडास के शूज हैं, एडिडास के शूज की जगह आप नॉर्मल शूज में एडिडास लिख के सब कुछ वैसा करके, एंड यू स्टार्ट सेलिंग इट. So that is direct infringement. That is again another type of copyright violation. उसी जो प्लेजरिज्म है उसी तरीके से ही आप, अरे हाँ, एक प्लेजरिज्म हो गया, डायरेक्ट इन्फ्रिंजमेंट हो गया, डायरेक्ट एक सेकेंडरी इन्फ्रिंजमेंट होता है. So there are different types of it. I mean, I cannot discuss everything in details. The reason is we have paucity of time. हमने फर्स्ट चैप्टर पे ही बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम निकाल दिया है. कॉपिंग डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में आप सेल कर दे सकते हो, रेंट कर सकते हो किसी और की चीज़ को, ऑन विच यू डोंट हैव एनी कंट्रोल. दैट इज ऑल्सो टेकन अंडर कॉपीराइट वायलेशन. कोई स्कल्पचर है या कोई पेंटिंग है किसी XYZ बंदे ने बनाई है, और आप वैसी सिमिलर पेंटिंग बना के बेच रहे हैं उसके नाम पे, that is also a copyright violation. That is called public display. Public performance है, if a particular drama has been performed in a particular way, and आप उसी ड्रामा को एग्जैक्ट चीज़ों के साथ आप अपना बना के कर रहे हैं, that these are direct infringements. Okay.
थैंक यू सर.
Can we move ahead quickly so that we can end this unit? Disclaimer are all the things that any company puts up so that it may avoid legal issues. So for example, most of the companies with the of skin who produce skincare products or medicine, they have things written on it. For example, I have this all out with me. इसके बाहर भी कुछ कुछ ऐसा लिखा होगा कि uh, it like it should be kept away from children, लिखा हुआ है ना ऐसा कुछ. So these are disclaimers. These are used in sales communication. So for example, mutual fund investment are subject to market risk. All these are disclaimers. Okay, so that in any case if something bad happens, so the company may say that we had already given this disclaimer. But if the company does not give a disclaimer, then what happens? So for example, fair and lovely का नाम glow and lovely change हुआ, या कुछ ऐसे cases थे जिसमें this guy who had bought this the particular deodorant. He said कि मेरे चारों तरफ तो लड़कियां आ ही नहीं रही, what should I do? आपने तो एडवर्टीजमेंट में ये दिखाया था, पर डिस्क्लेमर नहीं लिखा था ना उन्होंने नीचे. So that person filed a case against that company. So disclaimer is important to avoid legal issues. So these are few examples of disclaimer. The views and opinions in this video and comments on this channel do not necessarily reflect or represent views and opinions by this channel's broadcaster. If you have a complaint about something or find your content is being used incorrectly, please contact the broadcaster. So such are the disclaimers. Disclosures: the documents or the information that a company must disclose or must not disclose. So there is something called disclosure, the information that a company must disclose. So all the edible products have the company's or factory's name and information on that. So that's a disclosure that every company is supposed to give on their product. Then there are non-disclosure agreements. So for example, if you get hired in a company, the company may ask you to sign a non-disclosure agreement wherein you agree that you are not going to disclose any information or share any details that are information that are confidential and important to that particular company. But if you do if you share any such relevant information after signing the non-disclosure agreement, then a lawsuit might be filed against you. Okay, so this was all about financial reporting. Is there, you must give the right financial you must show the right finances on in the public. If you furnish any wrong details, again your company may face legal charges. Then intellectual property rights are important. आपका patent है, copyright है, trademark, trade secrets हैं. You need to take care of that. And if anybody copies it, anybody does something wrong towards it, then you may file a legal case against them. So this was all about unit 1, everyone. So we'll take a break, and after the break what I'm going to do is that I'm going to first of all discuss uh, take 10 minutes to discuss 10 to 15 10 to 12 minutes to discuss the question paper with you. And after that we'll be starting with the second unit, and thereafter third, fourth, जितना भी अभी max to max मैं करवा सकता हूँ. I took maximum time with this because many like the whole of question paper will include most of the questions from this particular unit, so it was important. Okay, I hope unit 1 is clear to
Sir, I
everybody.
have a question. Sir,
Yes.
just a quick question. This non-disclosure agreement is something like to prevent that insider trading? Is it like, is it the similar thing?
Yeah, insider trading को prevent करने के लिए, and so that the relevant information, some formulas, some important details are not
So, sir,
leaked outside the organization.
right. So that is between that organization and the person who is working with that person, right? But,
The
right.
organization
But,
slash employer
but
and the particular employee.
right, sir, right. But sir, disclosures like for example, we are talking about Maggie, for example. So who gives the authority, like how much of the information is to be disclosed, and are there some standards for that?
There are two things. One, what all information does the government or those agencies which have been given the authority by the government to legalize and give a license to these people, वो कौन सी information चाह रहे हैं disclose हो. दूसरा, उसके अलावा जितनी भी इंफॉर्मेशन है, दैट द प्रेरोगेटिव लाइज अप टू द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, फिर वो क्या चाह रहे हैं कि क्या उन्हें डिस्क्लोज नहीं करना है।
Right, so it should be in the best interest of the consumers, so that must be checked upon by some
Ideally,
organization.
it should be in the best interest of customers that government and its agencies look after. But then, apart from them, it lies up to the hands of the organization to decide what information they want to share with their customers and the public at large.
Okay, so the customer can file a lawsuit as well, like if something is disclosed or not informed beforehand, like some,
देखो
like for
देखो
an
सुनो,
eatable. Yeah.
श्रेष्ठा राइट, श्रेष्ठा,
Yes, sir.
एफएसएसएआई ने बोला कोई भी एडिबल प्रोडक्ट के बाहर उसके इंग्रेडिएंट्स लिखे होने चाहिए, ठीक है।
Right, right.
कंपनी ने लिख दिया, अब कंज्यूमर को लगा कि शायद ये भी इंग्रेडिएंट है एंड दिस इज हार्मिंग मी, या इन्होंने डिस्क्लोज नहीं किया, तो वो इंसान उसके खिलाफ केस फाइल करेगा। इफ द
Right.
कंपनी इज एबल टू प्रूव कि भाई ये चीज इंग्रेडिएंट है ही नहीं, तो मैं क्यों
हाँ.
डिस्क्लोज करूं, तो
Okay.
वो नलिफाइड हो गया। दूसरा, गवर्नमेंट ने बोला कि इस पर्टिकुलर शुगर टाइप को आपको करना ही करना है मेंशन, इस पर्टिकुलर शुगर टाइप को आप अवॉइड कर सकते हो मेंशन करना। तो
Right.
वो जो पर्टिकुलर शुगर टाइप को अवॉइड कर सकते हैं, सरकार ने बोल दिया, एफएसएसएआई ने बोल दिया, तो वो फिर प्रेरोगेटिव है कंपनी का, वेदर द कंपनी वांट्स टू डू इट और नॉट। ओके,
Right, sir. For example, the allergy, if somebody is allergic to certain chemical and if it is not mentioned and then medically that person is filing a lawsuit. So all these things, like I wanted to ask, because um, not every common person is understands the details of chemical terms or technical terms, but the
इंडीड।
company knows. Yes.
But ultimately, no company wants to provide a lot of details. They only do the bare minimum. Bare minimum, as in whatever, however they can comply with the regulations of the
Yes,
agencies,
yes, yes.
they'll do
Right.
that much.
Bare minimum. Right, right. That prerogative. Okay, sir. Thanks.
All right. So right now the time is 5:12. Okay. So let's meet at 5:30.
Okay,
So
sir.
the last break was for 3 minutes. This break will be for 18 minutes. Okay. So we'll all meet at 5:30, everybody. Okay, everyone, I guess we can resume. I hope all of you are here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Let's just continue. And before we move on to the next unit, I would like to take you all to the, hold on. To the discussion on question papers. Just hold on, my screen seems to be freezed. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. Mm-hmm. Here, guys, give me 2-3 minutes. I'll have to restart my laptop. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Just give me 2-3 minutes. I need to restart my laptop.
Okay,
I'm
sir.
leaving the meeting.
Okay.
ये वीडियो बनाता खाली
पीपीटी अगर हमें मिल जाए
अरे जुनेद भाई म्यूट कर लो यार
Rajesh, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Can you please check this क्यों पीपीटी अगर हमें प्रोवाइड करते हैं प्लीज रिक्वेस्ट
यार एक्चुअली बोला तो है बट वो प्रीवियस उसके लिए मना कर रहे हैं पीपीटी के लिए.
रिवीजन क्लास तक हो चुकी है अब.
But he's saying that he will provide the study material. Let's see.
Okay, got it.
वो जो रिटर्न नोट्स प्रवेश पहले लिंक भेजा था ना हमने कह रहे कि देंगे स्टडी नोट्स.
हाँ.
जो मैंने पहले लिंक भेजा था ना एक वन ड्राइव पे जो पीडीएफ सारी हैं इतनी सारी कम्युनिकेशन की वही सारी वीडियोस जो सर देंगे.
कोई नहीं ठीक है.
लाइबा तुमने हाथ क्यों उठा रखा है अभी से.
आज अभी किस पीपीटी उसके बारे में बात कर रहे थे ये सेम उसका क्या
वो हम कोड लैंग्वेज में बात कर रहे थे.
अरे बता दे यार
वो हर किसी को नहीं बताते. क्यों पार्थ?
कुछ ज्यादा ही सीक्रेट सीक्रेट प्ले कर रहे हो.
राज
चलो
की
गाइस
बात
वी आर
है.
भी.
राज की बात है. अरे ऊपर एक लिंक भेजा था अंजलि उसके अंदर वो स्टडी नोट्स वगैरह हैं सारे.
इन्होंने कम्युनिकेशन प्रोसेस का कोहेरेंस माना ही नहीं है, अपना डिकोड इनकोडेड चल रहे हैं सब।
सही बात है भाई।
यार ये वर्किंग आवर में क्लास लेना बड़ा डिफिकल्ट है।
आई नो।
अरे
I
सर
know
आप
it
तो
is
अचानक से
difficult.
धप्पा बोल दिया।
नहीं नहीं, I know it is difficult. I do understand that. But क्या करोगे बताओ?
मैं फर्स्ट टाइम
See,
क्लास ले रहा हूँ, मुझे रिवीजन क्लासेस है ना, मैं इस वजह से ले रहा हूँ, मैं प्रीवियस मैंने कोई भी क्लासेस नहीं ली हुआ है।
the point is कि
क्योंकि आपके मतलब कंटेंट जो है ना वो सिमिलर है, जैसे बीबीए का मैंने जो पढ़ा हुआ है सिमिलर है आपको एकदम 90%।
इस चीज में पढ़ा हुआ है आपने?
मतलब बीबीए में जो कंटेंट मैंने पढ़ा हुआ है कि सेम वही 90% कंटेंट है।
Yeah. So I mean, यार ये है ना कि if you have not attended any of the classes, so these classes, these revision classes are going to help you to at least get an idea of the things that are there. तो ये है। बट अभी तक जो आपने पढ़ा था 90% सिमिलर था। अब आगे काफ़ी चीज़ें होंगी, कुछ कुछ चीज़ें जो शायद थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट हो बीबीए के
हाँ
कंपैरिजन
मतलब
में।
ये कंटेंट मैंने देखा मतलब कि 90% तो सेम है, जब मान के चले कि जो हम सब्जेक्ट चूज कर रहे हैं उसमें थोड़ा सा वाइड है कवरेज।
एंड डेफिनेटली होना भी चाहिए बिकॉज दिस इज फॉर द एमबीए कोर्स ना। तो
राइट।
एक लेवल आप ऊपर की पढ़ाई कर रहे हैं तो डेफिनेटली होना चाहिए। ओके, लेट्स just start the discussion about the question paper. I hope my screen is visible to all and you all can read it. So all in all, there are going to be 7 questions in your examination. Okay. And question number 1 is going to be compulsory one. This is for the written examination of 70 marks. The first question is going to be a compulsory one based on a case study. This is going to be 20 marks, going to be for 20 marks. From question number 2 to question number 7, you need to attempt just 4 questions. Those 4 questions will have their own internal options, and these are going to be for 12.5 marks each. Total 20 plus 12.5 into 4 is equal to 70. Time will be for 3 hours. Okay. So I hope the structure of the question paper is clear to all of you. Now we will just have a look at the types of questions that you have in your examination. Okay, I hope the screen is visible. The fonts are clear. This much zoom is fine. Do I have attention of all of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So as I said, question number
Yes,
1 is
sir.
compulsory. So you'll have a case study like this. For example, this is based on a breakdown in customer service at United Airlines. So after this case study, you will have questions based on it. So for example, this is a very direct question. What is crisis communication? And then on the basis of case study, you have to critically analyze the case study and discuss the issues that the company faced and the relevance of effective business communication skills in this case. Now, most of the students just write the summary or just jot down what is there in the case study. That case study is just there for reference to understand the case study and answer based on that, not write exactly what is there in the case study. So please take care of that. Then you will have second question like this one, key lessons of business communication that you learn from the above case study. This question is important, 10 mark question, wherein you have to write a new case study. You can take hints from the above case study, but what usually most students do is that they just copy down the same case study. Adidas है तो Adibas बना देते हैं, Nike है तो Nike बना देते हैं. Rest of the case study word to word वो same लिख देते हैं. Please don't do that. You need to write a new case study. You can just take hint of what are the things that are discussed there, how they are discussed. So उन वो सारी चीजें आपको hint लेनी है वहां से. Second question here is on short notes. यहाँ पे 3 attempt करने. In your exam you will have 2, right? So you have to write short notes on any 2 of these. Then third question here, it is based on cross cultural communication, unit 4. You have a case study, 2 questions based on it. Okay. Direct question, what is cross cultural communication? Then critically examine the case study and answer this question. Then the second question is again based on it, 12.5 marks. Third question based on unit 5, career management. Direct question, what is career management? Try different steps of career planning. What are group discussions? What is the purpose of group discussion before an interview process? Why are some key strategies? What are some key strategies to do and effective group discussion. 12.5 marks. This is another question on memo report. This is another question on 7 C's of communication. Another one on unit 3, mentoring and team communication. So in this particular paper, you don't have much of internal options, but in your examination, you have more internal options as well. For example, in question 5, you may have answered this or this. In question 6, you may have answered this or this as well. तो आप उसमें से भी choose कर सकते हैं. So you will have ample number of options to choose from. The syllabus is easy. The question paper is quite sorted. And I hope with a very brief look at the question paper, you are able to understand the types of questions that you are going to have and how you'll be given the questions. Was it clear, the question paper?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Everybody, can you just write yes or no in the chat box? And if you have any
Yes, sir.
questions, just let me know.
Sir, can you please share this question paper in the chat box?
Sir, one more thing. Can you confirm the important topic?
Okay. See, don't miss crisis communication, 7 C's of communication, presentation skills. Okay. And legal issues in communication. Don't miss types of messages. Report will definitely come, or letter. Don't miss different frameworks of interpersonal communication, negotiation skills. Don't miss CV resume. You'll get a question to write that. Don't miss framework of cultural communication. Itna to definitely, read. Okay.
Sir,
Yeah.
am I audible? Sir, could you please elaborate about case study? What approach should be there for case study? Like, should be specific to case study only, like, or we can create our own case study? Like, I have no clarity about the case study, like how to approach it in the examination.
When you get a case study in front of you, I would suggest you to first read the questions once so that you understand with what lens, that would save your time. With what lens the question is being asked. After that, read the case study carefully, try to underline it there and then, what all you have to mention in your answers. And please just like in your answers, don't just copy things from case study. They are just given for you so that you can refer them. One, two, the questions are based on those case studies. You don't need to summarize the case study, or you don't need to pen down the case study ditto from the question paper.
Okay, noted, sir. Thank you.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we can proceed.
The question paper can you share in the chat box?
यार अभी क्लास के बीच में शेयर करना थोड़ा सा, मैं जो यहाँ पे आई होप दिस इज हियर फाइल्स में ना आई अपलोड. आई होप दिस इज विजिबल. यहाँ पे आई अपलोड. ओके.
हाँ सर, यहाँ पे कैन अपलोड.
क्लास मटेरियल्स या फाइल में आई मेक अ सेपरेट फोल्डर एंड अपलोड थिंग्स. Okay. Let's move on to the next unit, that is written communication. No, just hold on. There is some problem with my screen. Just give me a minute यार. पिछली बार भी यही प्रॉब्लम आया था. Yeah. Okay, so this next unit is written communication. So when we talk about organizational communication, we all of us know that more than oral communication, written communication plays a major role, because written communication ensures that there is an authenticity to things. Most of the you know letters that you receive, the things that you have to be conveyed, new policies, your joining letter, everything, all of these things are done in the written form, right? So initially, we must know that it is a form of verbal communication. We need to understand that, in business organization, usually the written communication is formal in nature. WhatsApp groups are fine. People do have WhatsApp groups in the organizations as well. But then most of the communication, written communication, is in a formal mode. It is not informal. Now, the forms in which written communication happens: letters, notices, memorandums, circulars, business proposals. Informal written communication, of course, it happens, but let's say in WhatsApp groups of the organization, if you have to take down notes and hand it over to your friend, such things may happen, but then most oftenly it is formal in nature. Advantages of written communication: it is rigid and easy. It can be furnished as a legal document. Uh, when you have to, let's say, present something, for example, if I have to teach you, I could have just taught you without the PPTs, but then it is helping you to also grasp things well, due to the written content that is there in front of you. People cannot distort something that is in written form. So for example, A communicates something to B communicates the same thing to C. So there may be a scope of distortion of the message. The message may be manipulated. But then if A hands over a written document to B cannot do much changes to it, because it is documented, it is written. So there is less scope of distortion. The written communication ensures that it can be used as a reference at any point. You have to present something in the form of chart, tables. So of course, written communication is the only way out. You cannot explain a chart by speaking totally, right? So these are certain advantages of written communication. Certain disadvantages of written communication: it is a time consuming process. I mean, expensive in nature if you have to circulate something, a sheet of paper or something like that. So I mean, it is going to cost you much. So lack of flexibility: once something is written, it is written. Then there are few steps when you have to communicate through written communication. You plan a message, and by planning, I mean, you need to know, you need to have a clarity of mind, clarity of thought. What do you want to convey, right? What all things do you need to mention? Who are you conveying? And of course, the 7 C's of communication that we studied earlier needs to be kept in mind: completeness, clarity, correctness, conciseness, concreteness, coherence, accuracy. So all of these 7 C's must be taken care of. After planning, what happens? Execution is important. So you need to know and understand the audience. Who are you sending it to? The approach with which you need to write should be an audience centric. You approach is more important than I approach, we approach. Okay, writer centric approach क्या होता है? Negative लिया जाता है. So for example, the bank is closed today, it will be open tomorrow. एक ये तरीका हो सकता है सिंपली ब्लंटली लिखने का. दूसरा हो सकता है the services of the bank are closed to today, and we will, and all the services will be given to you from tomorrow onwards. The very moment you mention that same moment the people feel connected. So better have you approach. Don't say things very bluntly. Even if you have to put up a complaint or a blame, try avoiding it. So for example, in railway stations, you must have heard, uh, we uh, um, we regret the inconvenience caused to you. So you जानबूझ के mention करते हैं, so that you know you feel that a personal attention is given to you. So try using such strategies. When we talk about different types of messages, it is important, you will get to write on one of these four. So we have request messages, positive messages, negative messages, and persuasive messages. Now, when we talk about request messages, so for example, you bought a refrigerator from Vijay Sales, and it has a problem. Now you write a mail to the company, to the, let's say, Godrej company itself, or maybe the Vijay sales company, that I bought this product, and I'm facing a problem, blah blah blah. Now the company needs to respond. So how are you going to respond? We understand your concern. The issue will be resolved within 2 weeks of the delivery of defective goods. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to serve you better. देखा जाए तो लास्ट लाइन लिखने की जरूरत नहीं थी, but then it has been added so that a personal attention is given to the consumer. Such messages wherein a response has to be made like these are request messages. Then positive messages, the routine news that you have to convey. It may be an apology message about appraisal, some sort of congratulation, confirmation. All of these are apology messages. So for example, such a message wherein you say, we would like to congratulate you on your hard work efforts on the project, which resulted in the company receiving a higher rank. So such messages, boost the
Positive.
motivation of the employee. Okay, so these are positive messages. And at times, there are certain times when you have to say no to the other person, but you want to say it in a way that it creates a positive outcome. So these messages should be understood based on the outcome. Request message wherein you have to answer to the request. Positive message wherein you have to come up with a positive outcome. So even if you are answering to something, अच्छा, try to understand this, that these messages are not exhaustive of each other. हो सकता है request message और positive message, दोनों types के messages साथ के साथ आप उस तरह से deliver कर रहे हैं. So don't think that if you are delivering a positive message, it cannot be a request message. So for example, here we have another example of positive message wherein, we regret the inconvenience caused to you. We'll look into the matter and try to resolve it immediately. Till then, we would like you to go to our website and log in with your account details, where we have some attractive offers and discount on some products especially for you. So you are regretting the inconvenience, but on the same hand, you are also giving certain offers and discounts to the consumer. So this is a positive message. It is going to make the other person feel better. Then we have negative messages. As the word suggests, the outcome is going to be negative. So for example, if you are not able to provide services to some person, so you do what? You just tell them that you don't have enough resources to provide the services at this particular time, something like that. For example, if we appreciate your interest in our designing services, this is to inform you that our designers are occupied with many ongoing projects and it is difficult for them to take up a new task this week. We request you to kindly wait for another week. So such a message wherein the audience is supposed to react negatively. So bad news, आपको किसी को terminate करना है, so that message is negative, right? When you are filing a complaint, that message is negative. Persuasive messages, all the emails that you get from the credit card people, who have offers to give to you from the travel agencies, all those are unsolicited messages, right? Persuasive hote hain. So for example, we welcome you to our new packages. These packages have been specially crafted for your convenience. You can choose among these services you'd like to. So wherein you persuade the receiver to abide by what you are trying to convey, even when they are unwilling or disinterested. We need to keep in mind, because we want them to agree with something. We want to persuade, we want to them to agree with something which they don't know about, and we are trying to persuade them. So we need to be very courteous. We need to make the message relatable to them, so that they trust us, so that they believe that this is important. So such messages are persuasive messages. So these are 4 different types of messages. Everybody, if you have some questions, just let me know.
Sir, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Mika here. The
Yes.
question is like persuasive. The Hindi word is pislana for it. So now, how it see while giving the a positive message, also we are influencing the buyer, and so as a persuasive message. So how are they both different from each other?
First thing, positive messages are mostly for a positive outcome. Second, persuasive messages you are preparing, but why do you are just expecting that the audience is going to, the receiver is going to respond positively, but जरूरी नहीं है वो positively respond करेगा ही. दूसरा उसमें बेसिक आइडिया परसुएशन है, और पॉजिटिव मैसेज में बेसिक आइडिया है टू मेक द रिसीवर फील बेटर देन हाउ ही और शी मस्ट बी फीलिंग. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Yes.
Fine, sir.
So,
Thank you.
like types of marketing also fall in the category of persuasive messages, like uh, we see some discounts on the outlets like 30% off, like offer is
Yeah.
ending within an hour, like people are rushing to buy such things, like we call it
Those
like
are all persuasive
PPA.
messages. Those are all persuasive
Oh,
messages.
okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Now let's talk about business proposal, right? We are going to talk about these 5 things here onwards. We are going to talk about just hold on. Good evening for your kind. I have submitted my paper. Okay. Need for a proposal we are going to talk about. We are going to talk about definition, types of business proposal, elements of a good business proposal, criteria, and then lastly in this slide we are going to talk in this PPT we are going to talk about the writing process. Why do we need business proposal? Now, when we talk about, you know, when we have an idea with us, right, of a business, of doing a business, so we must have identified some key issues. Otherwise जो common चीजें हैं उसमें भी हम अलग कुछ तो offer कर रहे होंगे, then we are going forward with the business. Then must be a method through which we are going to do the business. We must be having a plan, sources to that plan, and finally to come out with that project. So all of it form, the business proposal. So business proposal helps us to, one, bring our project to the public, to the potential investors, to the potential client, so that we can move forward. It also helps us to guide our own employees. It also helps us to stick to a written plan, right? That is why, so that we don't digress. Now, definition: a written offer from a seller to a prospective buyer. I want to open a tea stall wherein, I am offering, let's say, kava. Kava is very meagerly available in Delhi, right? लद्दाख जाओगे, कश्मीर जाओगे, वहां पे अवेलेबल है, यहाँ पे नहीं है. तो कावा की अलग से मैं एक आउटलेट स्टार्ट करना चाहता हूँ, एक फ्रेंचाइजी स्टार्ट करना चाहता हूँ. नाउ आई नीड potential buyers or prospective buyers or potential investors. For that, if I come up with a business proposal, that is going to be very positive to me. Now, there are two types of business proposals: solicited and unsolicited. Another type is external and internal. Let's just understand it. When we talk about effective business proposal, so what is a business proposal? You basically aware the other person first, then inform the intricacies about it, then through that awareness that you create, because of the information that you provide, you somehow persuade them, right? So there are these types: solicited, unsolicited, internal, external. Solicited business proposals are solicited, मतलब request किया है. So when an individual or organization completes a project, they will request that interested parties bid for the project, submit a proposal because it was requested. So for example, in my college, we do a competition, let's say a business biz competition, wherein, we ask the students to come up with a business proposal. When something like that is done, when your employer asks you to come up with a business proposal related to the services related to the ongoing services of the company, so this is a solicited business proposal. Somebody has requested or asked you. When nobody asks you or requests you for that, then that is unsolicited, right? So जब हमें हमारे एक स्मॉल बिजनेस है, लेट्स से हमें बड़ी कंपनी के साथ बिजनेस करना है, they have not asked, but we prepare our business proposal and we send a letter to them, we send a mail to them that this is our business proposal, can I get an appointment, can we get an appointment from your company so that to discuss it further, right? So such a thing is called unsolicited business proposal. Now, प्रपोजल फॉर अ पार्टी विद इन द ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, जब इंटरनल कम्युनिकेशन जो था, जब आपका बॉस आपसे प्रपोजल मांगता है, बिजनेस प्रपोजल, या गवर्नमेंट मांगते हैं, तो वो एक इंटरनल प्रपोजल, सॉरी, जब आपका बॉस मांगता है, सो एक ये इंटरनल प्रपोजल होता है, इंटरनल बिजनेस प्रपोजल. व्हेन लेट्स से you have to submit it to some other organization, outside organization, then that is an external business proposal. The elements of a good business proposal: there has to be a solution, there must have been a problem that you must have found, there must have been a scope that you must have found, so you need to come up with solutions, right? So the leading paragraph should be on the needs or the problems of the company, followed with a good presentation. which provides the solution for something through the deliverables that you have. Then benefits, who all are going to be benefited, what are the benefits, credibility, आपका experience कितना रहा है, where all have you done the pilot study, आपने किस sample पे काम किया, कहीं और आप business चला रहे हो, उसको आप show कर रहे हो, that shows the credibility. Samples, if you have already done that, so you can put up proofs and evidences of that. You should also tell the target audience of yours. Basic elements when you prepare a business proposal, you need to have a title page. Please take a screenshot of this. You need to have a title page, you need to have a cover letter. There should be table of contents, list of illustrations, if any, executive summary, introduction and summary, conclusion. Cover letter, what is it? It gives an overview of what is going to be there in the proposal. It tells about the exact subject, what is this business proposal, what are the objectives, right? And then table of contents. So this is how your table of contents may look like. It should be accurate. ऐसा नहीं है कि पेज कि फोर्थ नंबर पे कंक्लूजन नहीं है और आपने यहाँ पे टेबल ऑफ कॉन्टेंट्स में फोर्थ नंबर पे लिख रखा है. 4.1 पे मेजर कंसर्न है तो वही होना चाहिए. So this is an example of table of contents. List of illustrations. If there are any figures or tables, you have to put up a diagram, show a picture, something like that, so as to make it more informative, more interactive, and to provide more clarity. So you can put up a list of instructions and you need to mention it. Figure 1 shows this, it is on page number this. Figure 2 shows this on this. Table 1 shows this on this. Table 2 shows this on this. Executive summary, it is basically a summary, just like the preamble to the constitution. It is an abstract of what is it about, whatever is there that you are going to offer. Highlights problems of the proposal, problems that proposal is addressing to, solutions kya de rahe ho, benefits kya de rahe ho. Words should be such that it is easily understandable. Don't use a lot of jargons. Then comes the introduction. Introduction tells about the purpose and the problem. Discussion, it tells the benefits that the product or the service is going to give to the client or target audience. आपका USP क्या है, ठीक है, यूनिक सेलिंग proposition क्या है आपका, that you need to mention. आप फ्यूचर में आपकी क्या प्लानिंग्स हैं, that you need to mention, and suggested solutions. Finally, in the conclusion, you are going to sum up. I'm going to give you another example. I have an example for you. Let me just hold on for your better understanding. I think this. इससे better दूसरा है. I hope my screen is visible to all.
It's
Yes, sir.
Okay. So table of contents, another way of putting it, it may be in the form of an actual table or this. I hope it is clear. Executive summary can be like this. Homelessness is a significant problem throughout the century, but it is especially prevalent here in San Jose. We have so you tell the problem and then you tell whatever is there in the whole of the this whole of your proposal. So till here, this is the executive summary example. Then problem statement. Here is the problem statement. This is just a summary. Here is the complete problem statement, right? Then proposed solution. Here you have given the proposed solution. Qualifications are why people should believe in you. So you have told about it. You have told about the timeline. You tell about pricing. If there are any terms and condition, you put up the terms and condition. If there is an agreement that you require, you put that up as well. Okay. So in such a way, with such heads, you can write the business proposal. I hope it was clear to you. Yes, because we cannot go in very depth of discussing it. Reason being, we have a paucity of time. Otherwise, it takes 2 hours, 3 hours to discuss and then to make the students prepare it. So I think this is all that I can offer you for now. We cannot go in a lot of practice and all as of now in the revision class. Still, if you have any questions, I am open for your queries.
Yes, sir. Sir, I have one question. This is Anamika. Just like you said, that it is not possible to discuss these writings in detail. But आपने जो भी स्लाइड में दिया है तो उसका फेयर मिल गया है. Now, sir, if we want to practice it by ourselves, not for the course, but if we want to practice it by ourselves, so please, can you tell us कि हम लोग कहाँ से कर सकते हैं प्रैक्टिस अपने आप से, लाइक कोई भी आप वेबसाइट का नाम भी वो दे सकते हैं.
वेबसाइट का नाम I'll think over it and I'll definitely share. I mean, for your real life thing or what? I don't understand. Or for examination point of view?
No, sir, for the real life thing.
Okay, ठीक है. I'll think over it and I'll share.
Yes, sir. I wanted to know that these proposals, case studies, like making a business proposal, these type of questions. Have you seen such type of questions ever in
See the basic
examinations?
element. See sorry.
I am saying that have you seen such type, like a case study on making business proposals in detail? Have you seen any such questions in the examinations previously?
In what examinations? This business communication
related,
exam.
like, yeah, exactly.
You may have one. Don't worry. You may have one. Okay. You may be given a question like, you are XYZ, already working in an ABC company, and you are working on this particular product for now. Your boss wants you to prepare a business proposal on a type of that product, doing this. So you can just you are asked to prepare a business proposal of the same. Now that you are aware of the different elements, what you can do is that, considering those elements, you can prepare a business proposal. Just put up the heads, write the content, again put up the head, put up the head, write the content, put up the head, write the content. इतना big deal थोड़ी है. मतलब वही है कि details में it is not very feasible to discuss. Now that we have to discuss more things. Okay.
Sir, I have a very simple question, if you allow me to ask.
अरे बिल्कुल.
So I have my startup, I have prepared proposals. So with that knowledge, if at all, if that question comes up with respect to synopsis of any requirement or with respect to business proposal, can we write in our own language and words to summarize it, or else is there any structure that is very mandatory to follow? Structure, I understand the basic one which
No
you've given.
structure as such, but the elements that are shared, those elements must be there. Because how we do really in practicality, at times we differ, as per the types of organizations for which we are preparing the business proposals as well. But the elements that I told you, that you need to have these 7-8 things, so those must be there. Other than that, write in your own way. Who has stopped you?
Okay, because the
Sir,
one
just
which you shared looks like more of a service-oriented domain businesses. If at all there is a specific product or something else, it might vary. So yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
sir. Yeah.
definitely. I think there must be something more. Yes, somebody else was also asking a question. If not, let's proceed with business letters because we don't have much time and we have to discuss a lot of things. Just hold on. Okay, all of you must
सर
have.
ऐसा कुछ सर जस्ट
Yeah.
गिव मी अ मोमेंट प्लीज. सर ऐसा कुछ नेसेसरी तो नहीं है कि जो मतलब आप मतलब बुक वाइज जो कंटेंट है सेम उसके अकॉर्डिंग चलना है, जैसे हम डे टू डे लाइफ में जैसे यूज करते हैं हम अपनी चीजें, मतलब जस्ट ज्यादातर लोग यहाँ पे वर्किंग हूँ, जैसे मैं भी इन्वेस्टमेंट बैंकिंग में वर्किंग हूँ, तो जैसे हम डे टू डे बेसिस पे जो चीजें एक्टिविटी करते हैं, ठीक है, तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग तो हम अपने अकॉर्डिंग मेंशन कर सकते हैं ना चीजें जैसे.
हाँ, but try to be formal in your language.
हाँ लाइक राइट राइट, अब जो भी हम मेंशन करें तो फॉर्मली करेंगे ना, वो ये नहीं कि मतलब कहीं से शुरू किया देख और कहीं और पे खत्म कर दी, ये सारी चीजें मतलब एक वैलिड पॉइंट से शुरू करके उसी चीज से रिलेटेड एक वैलिड पॉइंट पे एंड कर देना चीजें।
Yeah, you
ठीक है,
don't
बस
have
ये
to
कंफर्म।
just put things randomly. जो भी elements बताएं, that should be in that order.
यस यस, एक और सीक्वेंस वाइज फॉलो करके, बट वही चीज कंटेंट जैसे हमारी एक अपनी वर्डिंग के थ्रू और जो हमारी डे टू डे एक्टिविटी के थ्रू होता है, जैसे मैं जो भी जिस फील्ड से वर्किंग सभी तो उस चीज से रिलेट कर पाते होंगे, तो उसी
Yeah.
के अकॉर्डिंग मैनेज करके कर लेना और जस्ट ओके।
We all have written letters all our lives in school days, right? Formal, informal, we know the differences, right? Now here we'll talk about business letter, which is a form of, formal letter, right? And in organizations, it is important because we need to deal with customers, other companies, clients, shareholders, and whatnot. So there are certain parts of business letter. I'm skipping the theoretical part because again, we have paucity of time. So these are 12 major parts of business letter. You need to learn how to go about writing it. The heading or the letterhead, if you are writing the letter on a letterhead. If not, then you will have to write in other way that I'll tell you. जैसे हम formal letter में लिखते थे, we used to start with, the address of the receiver, complete address of the receiver, then date. If it is on the letterhead, you just directly start with the date. Then reference because filing is done. So if there is any particular reference that you want to put up there, if because companies when they send a letter they do a filing of it, right? They also put it then in their register. If it is there, if it is related to, let's say, if I work in a college and if a business letter I'm writing to some company to come up and collaborate with us on our new attendance application. So वो मैं academic से related है, तो I can just have ACAD/2025/12th, मतलब academic से related 2025 का ये 12th letter है, वो मेरे reference के लिए हो सकता है, ठीक है? Inside address is important, subject line, greeting, body paragraphs, complimentary clause, signature, enclosures if any, I'll discuss. Copy circulation, postscript, एक एक चीज discuss करूंगा, don't worry. Needs and all, you can read all of these things from places. We'll just directly come to the practicality of it. So these things are important. You need to take care of the purpose of the letter. That should be indicated in the opening paragraph. It should set the tone for the whole letter. People should know from the very beginning what you want to talk about, what is the letter for, right? And let's come to the, just hold on. I want to show you a sample and then I want to discuss it with the help of that. Just give me a minute. Business letters.
सर कैन आई आस्क समथिंग?
Yes, in the meanwhile you can.
सर जैसे आपके पास जैसे कुछ रैंडम क्वेश्चंस बैंक होंगे तो वो सारी चीजें शेयर कर सकते हैं प्लीज?
I'll do that.
या प्लीज.
Okay, so this is an example. So if you look at it, it is not on a letterhead. So you basically write the address here. I mean, people in America, they follow it here. We follow by writing here on the left side, the address, the complete address. Then complete address as in the sender's address. We write the sender's complete address. Then again, try not following this form. Just write 27 February 2025 like this, 27 January 2025. Don't follow month, date, year. Follow date, month, year without any comma or anything. Then who you are writing to, the person's address, complete address with the designation, then the salutation, okay, then the opening lines, the body paragraph or body paragraphs. It may also, if it is a business letter and you are, let's say, if you want to procure, let's say, different types of gadgets for your particular organization from a particular company, so you may be having a table as well, ये टाइप के गैजेट्स चाहिए, इतने यूनिट्स चाहिए. So you can also include that table. So it goes as per the requirement कि आपके requirement क्या है. It goes as per the purpose कि आपका purpose क्या है, right? You can put all that and then the closing paragraph. You should just conclude what exactly do you want. All these things, put it on the left. Your since thanking you, your sincerely, your name, your company's name, your designation. And if you are putting some enclosure, मान लो आप कुछ sample pictures उसके साथ attach कर रहे हो, so enclosure colon 1, and then you put the title of it, sample picture of tables, 2 sample picture of chairs, 3 sample of the types of projector required. वो उस ऑर्डर में आपके लेटर्स के साथ लगे हैं. सो यू कैन पुट इट एनक्लोजर 1, एनक्लोजर 2, एनक्लोजर 3, एनक्लोजर 4. यस
सर हम इंक्लूजन में कितने पॉइंट तक लिख सकते हैं?
if only required, then only you should put things in the enclosure, otherwise not. अगर required है तभी, otherwise नहीं. So this is again a sample format. All these things have to be put on the left, and then it may be like this as well. Another one, I'll show it to you. There was one on letterhead. Yeah. So this is on letterhead. If you can see, visible है क्या आप लोगों को?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So this is a letterhead
Contents
of
not visible.
this is a letterhead. Okay. Letterhead है, company का नाम already है. So you need not mention anything else. You are the sender. So for example, we are School of Open Learning, University of Delhi. If we have a letterhead of School of Open Learning, University of Delhi, that is already written on the head. And if we are writing to, let's say, University of Allahabad, so we'll just directly start with the date because our address is already there. So University of Delhi, 15 June 2009, you give a space. Then if it is personal and confidential, you can mention, otherwise leave it. Then the name of the person who you're writing to, the complete address of the person. You need to put the subject line. Just ignore this. You subject line, and then whoever you are writing, respected, blah blah blah, and then basic content. This is how you need to end. Another example. These are different examples. See, this is the format. Address, sender's address, name and address. If there is a reference, you put a reference, ref, reference. Then the details of the person who you are writing to. Then if it is something that you want the recipient to put an attention to, if it is urgent, you can write that line or leave it. Then dear or respected, the recipient's name, subject, and then you put the whole subject within 5 to 8 words, not more than that. And then the content of the letter, you put a closing remark, signature, your name, title, whosoever is writing. If there is a CC of the copy, carbon copy आपको किसी को भिजवाना है, name for copy आप किसको भिजवाना चाहते हैं, and enclosures हैं, इस CC से पहले enclosure आ जाएगा. 1 2 3, however enclosures you have. Another example, letterhead already बना हुआ है, ऊपर सब कुछ है. You will directly start with the date. This is how it is like business letter. So this is the business letter. Now one thing, one thing. So this is the letter. Now there is something called report. Why do we write report? So that we inform something to somebody. That is the basic purpose of report. Now report can be written in two forms: memo report and in the form of letter format. Memo format or letter format. If a report has to be mentioned in letter format, it is going to follow the structure of a letter. There will be no change. It is just that it is an information that you are giving. For example, I work in a company, I work in an NGO, right? Which then, which finds out a problem, then approaches different companies, the CSR heads of those companies to seek funds so that we can, work on those problems. Now, if my boss has asked me to do a field visit, so that we are able to gauge how our ongoing project is doing in that particular village, and to come up with a report, so that if anything extra is required from our end, we can do that. If I go for the field visit and then come up with a report, and before I actually present it, he asks me to submit the report. Now, because I'm doing it within the organization, so I will follow memo format. So memo format is followed when you write the report within the organization. When you write to somebody outside the organization, for example, वो report we have to convey it to, let's say, government, राइट, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ चाइल्ड अफेयर्स को हमें भेजना है, या मिनिस्ट्री या किसी भी पर्टिकुलर मिनिस्ट्री को भेजना है, मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ एजुकेशन को भेजना है. सो it is an external communication that is happening, so that won't follow memo format, it will follow letter format. Keep this in mind: memo format and letter format, when you have to follow what. Now I am just going to show you an example of memo format type of report. Just follow the guidelines which are there. Just going to show you an example. Hold on. Okay, this is the letter format of report. Goes just like the letter. It is just that it is a report. Sender's address and details, date, recipient's name, recipient's address, everything else. And this is a report, right? So the person already knows what it is about. So it is up to you whether you, I mean, it is not even required, but it is up to you if you want to write the subject. Respected or dear, opening lines, introductory paragraph, body paragraphs, and then closing lines. Sincerely, your name, your title or position designation, and your company's name, address, and details. So when you have to write a report to somebody outside the organization, you follow a letter format, and it is just going to be ditto like a letter. But when you have to follow, when you have to write to somebody within the organization, so it goes like this. Give me a minute. I need to find that particular slide. Okay. Is my screen visible to all?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Now is it visible?
Now it is.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
When we talk about a memo, purpose of memo is important. Purpose will include context and background information. Details are important. Analysis of the problem, right? Recommendations, what solutions you have, what future problems are there, possible problems might be there, and how you are thinking of taking care of it. Then closing remark. So this is the basic, I would say basic way, basic format of a memo, wherein you don't write it like a letter. You write to colon whosoever you want to write to, from the sender's जो भी नाम है and the company's name. Again, now if the company's name is already, if it is again something that you are doing on a letterhead, so the company's name will already be on the letterhead, so you don't need to write this address. You just write from and the name. But then there are some higher officials in an organization who have their own letterhead. For example, Mr. ABC has his own letterhead and he is the CEO. So उसका अपना अगर letterhead है, जैसे doctors के prescription होते हैं, it's on the letterhead. All the details are over there. In the similar manner, if the organization's name, the person's name, his or her designation, everything is there, then you don't even need to write the from, right? Then date, whatever is the date, subject, what is it about, and then you convey the whole report. Okay, you convey the whole report. Now, hold on. I guess I might have. These are for long classes. Right now, I just need to give you a glimpse to different types of reports. Just hold on. I'll show you more examples so that you have an idea. My files are a bit scattered. Report. Give me a minute. Okay, I'll just send you a few formats of samples of reports for your reference. So basically, the basic format, the basic this outline of the report I shared with you. We'll jump onto this writing process, the next topic of the next and the last topic of this particular unit. So when we talk about the writing process, we have this pre-writing process wherein we think about the purpose of writing. We need to know that whatever we write should be audience centric. Again, we need not use the I approach. We need to use we approach, right? And be it a report, be it a letter, we need, when we are working in any organization, we need to collate all the relevant data, all the data which are which serve our purpose, which are factually correct, right? Which are relevant, which are coherent, and then we decide on the basic framework, be it a proposal or a report, whatever we have. Then we decide on the content that we want to write. While writing it, we need to follow the 7 C's: completeness, concreteness, conciseness, clarity, coherence, courtesy, and correctness. Now, as I told, that the data that we furnish, those must be correct. If we are referring to any particular study, that particular study or particular financial report of any other company, it is always better to cite it. That where have you taken the data from? If it is a website, put the web link. If it is a part of a magazine, put the citation of it there. Then rewriting. After you write, obviously there is always a need for the improvisation. You may do a peer review or get a peer review of it done. So for example, if you prepare a business proposal, you may just get it peer reviewed from some senior. We'll need to look into the writing piece, written piece, that we avoid wordy sentences. The use of language must be right. Again, the things that we need to take care of are, it should not be individual centric. Simple words must be there. There should be correctness, as in punctuation errors and informal language should not be there. The tone should not be very blunt. Things where a proper description or explanation is required, we must put it there. If there are certain jargons that you have used, so those jargons must be explained. So that's the rewriting process. So there are these 3 processes involved in writing process: pre-writing, writing, and rewriting. So these are 3 steps. So with this unit 2 is very small. So I think this is all about unit 2. Third unit is interpersonal communication. I think it, because we don't have much time, so I will try to wrap that up quickly as well. So let's take like 5 minutes break and then we can restart with unit 3. I hope that is fine with everybody.
Yes, sir. Sir, in SLM it's mentioned rewriting, writing, and editing. So editing is rewriting only, I assume.
No, editing is a part of rewriting. Now, once you write down, so you get it proofread, you rewrite it. So editing is a
Okay.
part of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir. Got it. Thanks.
Okay, so it is 6:30 right now. We'll meet at 6:35. We'll start the 5th unit. Hello, everyone. I guess we can continue now.
Yes, sir. I have a question, sir.
Sir,
Yeah. Please be quick with the questions. We don't
Yes,
have
sir.
much time now.
Yeah, sir. When to use letter and a memo?
See, when there is an internal communication that has to be made, then we use memo format. When we have to communicate with somebody outside the organization, then we have
letter
to
form.
use letter format of report.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other
और
question?
सर एक चीज और सर
Bolo.
सर what are stakeholders?
Stakeholder here, any person who has the potential to affect the organization or who can be affected by the organization. You are a stakeholder of this organization as well. I am also a stakeholder of, because you are affected by how the organization runs their MBA course. Okay.
Great sir.
ठीक है. Okay. Yeah, thank you for
और
making this
सर
folder for
एक
me.
चीज और
I'll upload it here. Yeah.
सर what are the 5 W's?
What, when, where, who, why, why.
Okay sir. Okay.
Okay, guys, next unit is on interpersonal communication. Okay, now in our day-to-day life, we communicate with people around us in organization, right? Within the organization, and how we work depends a lot on our teams, on our colleagues, on the other employees, and our communication with them. So interpersonal means how you interact with the people around you. Interpersonal, right? So the way you communicate. Now, meaning of interpersonal communication, as in when people within the organization, they communicate with each other, they exchange some information, the feelings, the things related to, the company's goal, organizational goal, and they do it in verbal and through verbal and non-verbal messages. It may be a face-to-face in communication. It may be a communication like how we are doing it, and all in all, that a good interpersonal communication leads to building a good relationship. But a failed interpersonal communication, breaks the trust of the employees amongst themselves. It breaks a team is not able to work along with each other in good manner. So it is very important to have good interpersonal communication to maintain good interpersonal relationship. Now, communication, of course, and interpersonal communication is something that we need from our childhood to the latter part of life to the end of the lives, because we keep on communicating with people. And why do we need it? For personal purposes, for social purposes. And here what we have to discuss, how it helps in keeping up with the professional relationships, because as I discussed earlier, it leads to foster the trust amongst people, makes them collaborate with each other. If there is a team which is working on a project and comprises of people doing different works, then it is very much possible that, like, of course, it is very not very much possible, it is obvious that they have to be dependent upon each other so as to fulfill the task or complete the project. For that, they need to communicate with each other. Now the outcome is based on how they communicate well with each other, how they collaborate well with each other, and that depends a lot on their interpersonal communication. So further, lack of communication ruins everything, because obviously, you know, uh, we just cannot assume how somebody is going to behave. We just cannot assume whether or not the other person is interested. We need to communicate with that person. Certain features of interpersonal communication, it is a continuous process. It keeps on happening. It never stops. It is inevitable. You cannot avoid it. It is dynamic in nature. If you meet a new person, you don't know how that person is going to interact with you. If there is a new intern in your particular department, you don't know that intern does not know you. So how communication will happen? It will be totally dynamic, right? But if you do your best in it, so it is going to be a good interpersonal communication which will strengthen the relationship. Now, example, a team leader's body language and tone during a meeting can foster cooperation, even if the circumstances are diverse and a lot of work has to be churned out of the employees. If the team leader has a tone with which he may persuade the employees, the team members, then that means that he has good interpersonal communication abilities, and people, the employees, the team members are going to trust him and will be able to work him. That will in turn fulfill the organizational goal in a good manner. Now, we need to understand that interpersonal communication is inescapable. You cannot escape it in the organization, or of course in daily lives. It is irreversible, because once you when we specifically talk about communication in any organization, most of it is in the written mode, as we have discussed in the last unit. So it is irreversible, right? If you impulsively type an email, so once sent, it is sent, and it is going to ruin your interpersonal relationship. So be careful with like how you communicate, with the team members, with other people around you. Now, there are contextual factors which affect interpersonal communication. There may be psychological factor, as in how you are feeling at a particular time. Psychological है, situational है. If it is a particular gathering, if it is a meeting, if it is a celebration that you are doing, or maybe if it is a conference. So based on that situation, if you are meeting this particular person, so your interpersonal communication may also differ. Relational, if you are communicating with somebody on the same level as you, if you are making a horizontal communication, then uh, you need to take care of a particular way, a few particular ways of interpersonal communication. You can be pretty I would say comfortable with your tone as well. But if it is a superior with who you are interacting, then you have to be careful with your words. You have to have a particular tone in the way you speak. So you need to take care of paralanguage as well. Cultural, somebody must be coming from a particular cultural, regional background, so you need to take care of that as well. Now, there are two theories of communication. It is important, please understand it. So, these theories explain why people behave as they do when they interact, and why is it required? How should they approach the other person? And when it is about interpersonal communication, how do you need to build it up? And these theories help you to predict, interpret, and influence behavior. We'll try and understand it. And these theories are a combination of psychology, sociology, and communication studies. And it tells about how communication works in building relationships, how interpersonal communication is fosters interpersonal relationships. Now, I'll give you a case first of all, and very quickly we'll try to understand.